Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Howling About Entertainment with Jake D. Hail to the chat. Just another red shirt. Mary G, how are you? Good to see everybody this evening. We're going to give it a couple of minutes while some of the guests are still arriving. Draco is taking care of a few things. Our good buddy 32 Flavors of Nick Wiza is going to be in about an hour into the show, and Foul Ball Productions should be joining us shortly. Keck 44, good evening, sir. Thank you for popping in this evening. So before we get started, I do have a couple of special guests that wanted to say hello to everybody. And so come on over here, young ladies. Pop in there and say hi. These are my daughters. You may have actually occasionally seen the older one in the chats now and then, but they think it's kind of neat that Dad's got a YouTube channel and wanted to say hi to everybody. So say hello, ladies.
Hello.
So they get to spend some time with me for the next couple of weeks, and just thought it'd be really neat to say hi to everybody. Thanks, girls. Big hug. All right. Very good. Very good. So that was a lot of fun. Just another red shirt. Mary G, thank you for saying hello to the young ladies. They're just having a good old time. It's always nice when they get to visit and spend some time here. I've mentioned before that I never do get to see them enough, but they are having a good time here in the Texas area and just enjoying, well, it being about 50, 60 degrees warmer than back home in Denver for them. You may see them peeking in occasionally through the door back there. So good evening, everybody, though. No, it is very, very good to see you. And I am just thrilled to be with everybody this evening. So while we're waiting for the co-hosts to pop in, I think I want to get started chatting with everybody about the Umbrella Academy Season 3 was just confirmed as a renewal, and they're going to get started filming early next year. Scripts are underway, and they are getting going with getting that ready. Matt, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, sir. How are you doing?
Doing wonderfully. Welcome to the show, my friend. It is good to have you as always.
Thank you for having me. Let me show off my new shirt that I've got. It's very consistent with the background. Check that out. What?
Hey, I'm a fan.
That is the Japanese Return of the Jedi poster.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I did not know. Dude, I like that. That's good art.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's pretty cool. I got it on Amazon.
Excellent. You can find anything you want on Amazon, it seems like.
If they are our new tech AI overlords, I embrace them fully. Bring it on. I want Amazon States of America.
They clearly are that.
I know, right? It's all right. We could have worse overlords. Could be much worse.
I'll take Bezos over some other options if I have to.
Here.
At least that guy wants to make money. That
Bezos for emperor next. One more lifetime. So
now I know, Matt, you were a fan of Umbrella Academy. I know you did some coverage of season 2 of Umbrella Academy early on in the channel, similar to myself.
Sure did.
And we got confirmation this week that season 3 is greenlit.
I heard that news.
Yes, and underway, man. So I thought it'd be good to give kind of some of our final thoughts on season 2 and what direction we hope they're going for season 3 to kick off tonight. So now I have not watched your reviews from Umbrella Academy season 2. Similar to myself, I just you had covered it. So give me your thoughts, and I bet the people in the chat probably good chance they haven't heard them yet either.
Well, so I I'm like newer to actual comic books. This is something I haven't spent like a whole lot of time, you know what I mean? Like getting into, like watching Gary, watching you, watching like everyone's people's like love for comic books is drawing me in. So I saw season 1 just blind, knew it was based on a comic book, but didn't know the book, didn't know anything about it.
Me too.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah.
So I loved it. I thought it was awesome, and I had a blast watching it. And then I heard all of, like, I think it was Gary, his like anxieties about the new season. I was like, ugh. And then I watched it, and of course it was right. I mean, I felt that there were like dueling forces going on with that show. That there was like the showrunners and the writers who were doing their thing and doing it well. It was very interesting. And then there was just these like big like stalactites that just like bam, just like dropped in the story, like these big shoehorn things. And we were like, where is this coming from? Who is this serving? And ultimately, I found it pretty unsatisfying because the parts that were really good, but the parts that were really bad.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a lot. After the season, I went back and read the graphic novel, the comic books, the first, iteration. Blown away. The book is so good, and it's so funny and so much fun that I was like, I can't believe they allowed any of that nonsense to come in there and cloud it with like, oh, the world's a nasty place, blah, blah, blah. The comic book is so whimsical, so fun. First season, so much fun. So I don't know. For season 3, I don't care. I don't really care.
Fair enough, man.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It was almost like we had 2 shows during season 2. There were. I mean, really, it was there. There was the half of it that was kind of this good comic adaptation, and then there was the half of it that, I mean, really was a woke fest.
Yeah, it was awful. Oof.
And to your point, half of it was unreal good, and half of it was what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
forced.
Yes, absolutely. And unnecessary.
Completely superfluous. Ugh.
Yeah. And so it's, if those things were not there, I think that it could have been a much better show, and maybe they could have given us, some superhero powers to watch during our superhero show. Wouldn't
that have been something?
I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one, but when I'm watching superheroes, I want to see superpowers. I don't know.
I think you're crazy. Why would you want that superhero show?
I know. It's just
what are we talking about, gentlemen?
The season 3 official green light for Umbrella Academy, brother. Just came down the pike and announced they are writing the scripts right now and will be filming early next year.
And now I'm up on context. I understand what you're talking about.
Draco was with me when we were covering Umbrella Academy, and so he had some I mean, not terribly dissimilar to your opinions on what went down there, Matt. But I don't know if Matt, you're not looking forward to season 3 particularly. It doesn't sound like.
I'm just trying not to like get into stuff like this. I'm trying not to support it. If it's not like as some sort of political thing. I mean, it's just if it's going to have agenda in it, I don't want to watch it.
Fair enough.
So I don't think they're gonna tone it back. I do believe in my heart the creators are gifted, love the source material, and like what they do. I think the minister of propaganda over at Netflix forced their hand because it just doesn't seem to be possible to make a show on Netflix now without representation, without like it's like everything. I mean, did you see that video game documentary, like the history of video games? I think it's called Game On.
No, I did not. Where's that available?
Netflix.
Okay.
And it was pretty good, but I mean, like even in a documentary about video games, they had gay and trans representation. Now, they happen to be fundamental to the story of video games, but I mean, it's literally every single property they make has got to make sure it checks boxes, has representation. It's exhausting. So I mean, I just feel like are they going to tone down the wokeness for season 3? I can't imagine that's what's going to happen.
Fair, man. It's fair. And then Alex in the chat says, I've read the boys' comics, and the comics so much better than the series also. So, I mean, similar to what we experienced with Umbrella Academy in many ways. Mm-hmm. And it's like they gave the comics to some intersectional feminists that know nothing about anything to make the series. And yeah, that actually is pretty much exactly what happened in the boys, Alex, to a T.
Yeah.
If you ever watched the after show and the extra stuff that they had available on Amazon, it was enlightening.
Yeah.
It really, really was. And yeah, kind of get everything good out.
And I think it's so indicative that there are multiple forces at work in a show like The Boys season 2, right? Because what was that scene where Stormfront is like, I don't know why we got to point out that we're girls or we're boys. We all just kick ass, and then I think the creators said that came from one of their executives who was annoyed at that scene from Endgame, like that clearly was not consistent with the arc or the theme of the show. So it was they just threw in there for a second, didn't care about the payoff, didn't matter, blah, blah, blah. So it's like there's just there's so many people just throwing in their insight, throwing in their 2 cents to the point where the show is not even just from not even criticizing the agenda. It's not even coherent as a show, as a story.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that threw us off early in the season where we thought they were trying to parody woke.
Right.
But, that scene was trying to parody woke because, to your point, it got tossed in by an exec producer who was pissed off at some obviously agenda-driven scenes.
I mean, come on, she's right. That was the most ham-handed thing in Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
So dorky. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, all the girls getting together to get Spidey to the time machine. Yeah.
And for the record, the idea that Pepper Potts was anywhere near a battlefield could be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, let's just objectively, right? First of all, she got no battle experience whatsoever, except for that Iron Man 3, but they basically said that never happened, so never happened. And so Tony as a child, like a 4-year-old or whatever, and now you're going to put both parents in a battle with like the apocalypse man.
Yeah,
what if they both die but they save the day? Then your kid's gonna have any parents? What are you doing? Go home, Pepper. You don't belong there.
It's basically the discontinuity between the ideas that are going on there. Why would Pepper be there at all? If she was not home protecting the child, this is psychology. If she's not home protecting the child would have to be in direct danger for her to even step foot into the battle. Therefore, you say, why are the parents there? The parents are there because the child has been threatened by this threat that just happened. But this happened to Avengers compound. Why are they there? It doesn't make any sense.
None.
Discontinuity. Your head isn't there. And it's like, if you're asking the question, why? Then you're out of the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And it's things that draw you out of the story. And it can be, there's a variety of ways that it can happen, right? It can be, events that, bring somebody in where they shouldn't be or how they shouldn't be, right? The Westeros Express in season 7 and 8, right?
The teleporter they all managed to fast travel.
Yeah, well, not just the people, but the crows got them too, right?
They got little jetpacks.
It turned into email. It was incredible.
Because it's not something the normies catch. That's the whole idea is that, okay, this information needed to be gotten there, or this person needed to be here instead of there. So they put them there, and then basically there's probably a little bit of thrill of the idea, well, this character is there and this character is there. So if you're just watching for the entertainment, you don't even care about it, it's wonderful, it's excellent. Don't even watch it a second time, though, or bother to think about it, because then you'll go, he was over there, but now he's over here. But this place is thousands of leagues apart. That doesn't make any sense.
None. None. And
Yeah.
the show made painstaking points to point out in earlier seasons how long it took troops to move over continents. I mean, you have basically a whole season with Arya and the Hound traversing Westeros. It took like a whole season, and then you fast forward to the last season, they could just jump down there whenever they felt like it. No time passed.
Well, I mean, apparently the dragons fly at Mach 2, so yeah.
And there was the discovery of the warp bubbles, so you could be instantaneously transported from here to there. You could go to Easteros if you wanted to.
Why not?
Easter.
Why not? Man of War, neighbor of the beast. Welcome to the chat, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. But
Neighbor of the beast.
Yes. But so there's an example, right, of something that rips you out. I mean, in Game of Thrones, it wasn't agenda driven for the most part. It was just lazy ass storytelling once they got away from the source material. But
I think there was some agenda. Like, what was that season? What was that? Is it 8 was the last season or 7?
8.
8 was the last.
So in season 7, when Jon, the Battle of the Bastards, and Jon just loses his mind and charges the line, even though he knows that's the one advantage they have is to make them attack first. But he's just so, hey, you've got a little. There's someone.
Yes, yeah. I had them say hey to everybody at the start of the stream.
In the background there.
and I tried to warn everybody, but it is YouTube, so we need to repeat every 15 minutes. Good chance my daughter's gonna wave hello from behind me.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was like, hey. That's a person over there. No, but when Jon charges the line, and he basically breaks, he acts with complete irrationality, throws the logic into the wind, throws a plan into the wind, and then he needs to be rescued by his sister, right? And then his sister, and they start calling the shots in Westeros. I think it did get a little agenda driven. It did get a little woke. It did kind of they did sort of shift the narrative to make it fit 2018 or whatever year that was,
Yeah, believe it or not, it was 2019. It seems like ages ago, but it's only last year.
Yeah, well, season 7 was 2018, right?
Yeah,
or was that 27?
Or was it 17?
I can't remember.
Nah.
Whatever year that was.
It went bad in 19. It took 2 years for it to go so bad. It was 17.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was, that's a fair point. There was some of that where all of a sudden Jon and Tyrion were relatively incompetent. Yeah. I mean, there was definitely some of that. And hello, Kent Barnes. Thank you for joining, my friend. Good to have you.
Barnes, you're not a firing squad.
So, yeah. And then, Man of War 665 makes the point, well, Jon was supposed to slay the Night King. So.
Right. Why did he get resurrected? No purpose, none.
Yeah, they did. So it did become empty, didn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Meaningless.
Yeah.
To observe the events and sleep with McQueen.
God bless her. My girlfriend had never seen Game of Thrones, and she really wanted to watch it, so I rewatched the whole thing with her
recently.
And yes, earlier this year. And season 8 is as bad as we remember. It really is.
Dude, Critical Drinkers videos during that stretch, I mean, they were just hot fire. They were just, molten lead. They were so precise and fury filled, and it was like vintage drinker. That's when I think I discovered everybody was during that meltdown. I just went online and I'm like, there has to be people talking about this. What is going on? And that's when I found Drinker just lighting it on fire and Gary talking about it. And that's that was my entrance to the fandom menace.
Yes. Yeah. Mine too. Mine as well.
Welcome, guys.
Man, that was an epic meltdown.
I was nowhere. I was in the background watching DC and Gary blow up on this thing.
Yeah.
Talk about some epic meltdowns when DC raked this thing over the coals.
Yeah, Mary G, exactly. And Tyrion just somehow his brain magically until after Danny was killed, and then apparently he was clever again.
Kinda. Yeah, he's such a great guy.
Tyrion, you don't know anything anymore.
Right?
I drink. Right.
I guess maybe he drank too much, so he didn't know anything anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, and his arc's kind of meaningless because like the whole thing was he fled Westeros after he killed his dad, you know, the whole thing, and he had to escape. And then you think, oh, okay, like you've got this really powerful character teaming up with the powerful, you know, the Queen of Dragons, the whole thing. You're like, oh, great, like they're gonna, and then she just turns evil, and then he didn't help her, and that's kind of it. And you're like, why then?
Well, you know, I don't know. And he diddled his aunt. It just
such a mess, such an utter mess, and the amount of you know goodwill and stuff that was around that, and how much time I spent watching that show, and then just watch it crumble like that. I'm still not over it.
I truly pray we don't ever see anything like that again, because it went from the best show ever made to the most epic meltdown ever seen on television.
And nothing parallel. Nothing. There's no parallel to that. I've never seen anything so tremendous to fall like that.
Never in my life have I seen a show go from. I mean, well, you can catalog it because we've seen this. We've seen a lot of people talk about how Game of Thrones, season 1 through 4. Season 1 through 4 is about one of the most excellent adaptations of original material to television ever done.
Absolutely.
It's flawless.
Can't argue with that at all.
Then you get into 5 and 6. And you start to see chinks in the armor.
Yep.
And I think it was fair of us to say, well, they're expanding on original source material that they do not have, but George still give them pointers, right? He's giving them outlines, something. He's done something.
Right.
Keep them on track.
Yeah. And, you know, Kent Barnes here makes just a brilliant comment. It's, you know, the cerebral assassination of Tyrion is one of the worst storyline fails in history. Yeah, I mean, that's just, no one could say it better than that.
Jaime, a character assassination.
Oh.
There is no par. There is no par where it's basically just turning him right back around.
What was the point of all of the plot development from beginning to end? If Jaime ends up exactly where he started, except to say, well, that is the ultimate failure. That is the absolute nihilism, the ultimate black pill. Yeah.
Bold!
I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Mary's phone is rebelling against what happened to Jaime so hard that it won't even type it properly. That's how bad it was.
That's how bad. Because they spent so much time turning it. I wanted to talk about this real quick, but they spent so much time like transforming this incredibly unlikable character, this arrogant, rich, child murderous, you know, monster, into a character you ended up honestly genuinely empathizing with.
Yeah.
And him and Brienne of Tarth's whole journey together, you're like, fucking hey, you really start to like him. And then she's like, actually, the whole time I've really loved my sister and none of this matters and I don't care. It's like, what?
What the fuck?
What are you talking about? No, that's not right. Mahler's videos on the subject are tremendous. I mean, always, but because he uses examples of the characters like from previous seasons directly contradicting their character in like the 8th season. They're remarkable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And Kent Barnes, another amazingly astute observation. Story arcs are not supposed to end in circles.
That's a really good point. That's a great point. It's not a story circle.
God, that's brilliant. Really.
Yeah. That's great.
See the wheel. It turns around. It makes an awful creaking sound. No.
I seem to remember Danny talking about needing to smash the wheel, but all they did was give Jaime a wheel. I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly. I was wondering what was Man of War talking about with the D&D and Games Workshop debacle. What's that all about? Does anyone know?
Oh, so I Man of War, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe you're referring to Dungeons and Dragons They recently decided that racial negatives will no longer apply. So if you're a half orc, you no longer lose automatically part of your charisma score, as an example. And
All races are equal. Box check.
because
Orcs
all
are
races are
monsters.
equal.
Orcs are monsters in Dungeons and Dragons. They're not like I have orcs a playable race.
They're just another people of the world.
No, they're like
Azeroth has all. That's the whole bullshit. You understand this. Man of War understands this. Every fan of the genre understands this.
what?
That they have different strengths and weaknesses, and
Yes.
you build things out of that, and that gives you imbalances that you play drama. These you play your games
Yeah.
against. But
Yeah, I mean,
that's not what Wizards of the Coast thinks anymore.
No, and I've played D&D not for many years now, but in my teenage and my 20 years, I played some D&D. And to Draco's exact point, you work with the strengths and the detriments.
That's
of,
the fun.
Yeah, it matters.
So much.
So if you could do everything, then there's no reason to even play.
It's like halflings had bonuses to stealth, if I remember correctly. They're little guys.
Small.
So
Turbo, of course.
and
Orcs they usually have like strength bonuses and stuff like that, and it's like but you have like an intelligence and a charisma like detriment. Yeah, they're orcs.
Exactly, and
they're not charismatic with big bony teeth. It's like that's not someone you're gonna like enjoy to be around.
Yeah, and I mean part of the role playing aspect of it, which is enjoyable, is that you deal with these facts because if you've got a good dungeon master, they build into the fact like, okay, if this guy decided to roll a half orc, well, everybody's going to hate this son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they build that in. It's part of the story.
And it's what makes it fun. It's like you have to come up with creative ways to overcome your flaws.
Yes.
That's what's great about it. It's like the most invigorating part about Dungeons and Dragons is all the the balance, the inconsistencies.
Yeah, and going back and correcting past campaigns with sensitivity readers.
No,
I mean,
they didn't. They messed with like vintage campaigns.
Can you imagine
history, the ultimate goal of the SJW?
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with Ravenloft, it's a D&D realm built around vampires and the undead, and they've got like Dracula analogs and things like that, and I can't even imagine what they would do to something like Ravenloft because that's
you don't want
breaks the heart. Because I noticed with my buddies all into Ravnica, the plane walkers and all that stuff, loves it, crazy about it. And I remember thinking like, this is kind of woke. Like on the cover of the Ravnica book is like this black woman who's like a really powerful sorceress. And it's like, okay, it's okay that that's a black woman, but like in this time and place in history, that wasn't just the natural progression. They're like, we better check the box. So the fact that that they went that far as to mess with the orc stats and then to go back and rewrite history.
Yeah, and I mean, Nano Reaper, one of the fun things about playing an orc says that he gets to throw the halflings. So. Not anymore because you're not getting your strength bonuses.
Trust me. Don't tell the elf.
Oh dear, yeah. So demons and monsters would have to be people, or Hollywood would be empty. So I mean, Matt, you're out there. You tell us, Matt, you're there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of producers and agents who are like, I don't like that representation of demons being all bad. We're not all bad. We have good sides too.
Yeah. These horns are excellent places to hang our hats.
Oh my god, they're rebooting Curse. Oh god, that's the one I remember, Man of War, the Curse of Strahd. Oh man, dude, that's just like sacrilege to me. That's sacrilege.
Yeah, when they go back and rewrite history, that's the worst part. That's the one that stings the most.
Yeah.
Bringing back Palpatine, all that stuff they did with like Doctor Who. Because I'm not a Doctor Who fan. We talked about that, but I understand the depth of how much that hurts.
Oh yeah. It's I mean, some of the other fandom menace channels have talked about it, but the one that hurt me the most was Doctor Who.
It's brutal what they did.
Oh,
it's
God.
so callous and blunt and just malicious.
But the video I am painfully working through right now is dealing with the episode Rosa, where
brave man.
It may be one of the it is the worst. No, it's probably the second worst episode of Doctor Who ever made, behind the Chimeless Children. And I'm putting it up against Vincent and the Doctor, which may be one of the best episodes ever made.
Oh, that's I like that idea.
And in both cases, they're going back to a very famous figure in history and having a story with them.
Are you talking about an infamous one from the 30s in Germany? Is that why you didn't use his name, or?
No.
Okay.
Vincent and the Doctor, Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Are you supposed to pronounce it Goff?
They do in England. So in the show, they say Goff rather than go. So, yeah.
I didn't know that. I think I saw a clip from that episode on online somewhere where he's like, Vincent van Gogh's like in the gallery where everyone's like loving his work, and he's like all emotional, like overhearing people talk about that. I don't know which one that's from, but I just remember seeing a clip from it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the episode. That is
that the good
episode.
one, or is that the bad one?
That's the good one.
Okay.
Yeah, the bad one is when the first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, whom we'll lovingly call Dr. Karen, goes back and visits Rosa Parks and protects her from a space racist from the future.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, that is so condescending. Like the idea that you needed to protect at all a woman who stood up to racism, like almost single-handedly. you got a whole crew in the back there now. Stood alone, and you need white blonde Jodie Whittaker to go save her. That's the heart of what's wrong with Hollywood social justice stuff. They want to put themselves in the center and make themselves the hero. Oof, that is gross. That is really gross.
And just another red shirt was commenting about another piece, but it plays so perfectly into this Rosa episode.
Hello, daughter.
It's been 15 minutes. I need to remind the audience. You're probably going to see my daughters in the back occasionally.
They're putting on a show back there. There's two of them. They're flashing the lights. I saw a dog walk by. To put Jodie Whittaker and her fam, as she calls them, her three companions, and make them actually responsible for making sure that the whole Rosa Parks bus thing actually happened. It's fucking insulting. It's gross. It's so insulting and paternalistic and like narcissistic. Like you're stealing from what people actually did, and you're inserting yourself in the story. Like, here's what I would have done. Ew, go away. Stop writing fiction. You're terrible at it.
Oh, goodness, Nano Reaper. I'm assuming you're not gonna complain to that one, though. I think, yeah.
He's got the booty drop, and it's like a shockwave that like deafens your -2 perception.
Well, but would Gina Carano be the archetype for the character? Because
if that was the case, I'm all for it. I have really fallen in love with her over the past year.
She is an amazing person.
She really is.
She's
so brave, and like it's cool that like she transitioned into like being a Hollywood actress. She's in Deadpool, and she's in like the Mandalorian, and all that's really cool. But it's like she was a professional fighter for a long time. Like she's got nothing to prove, and she just like is giving no fucks, and it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, she is, and you know what? Perfect time to segue.
Let's do it.
Since we got on to talking about Gina, by God. So
I get it.
Oh, so chapter 12 of Mando, The Siege.
Dang.
I have
So-
to tell you, I haven't watched it yet, Jake.
You haven't got onto this one yet?
I
Uh-oh.
watched. It's okay. Let's talk about it. You know what? I found myself just barely interested in the series anymore. Anyway, so it's like spoilers are not going to ruin anything. I saw the episode in the Ice Cave, and I was like, this is just boring. It's just a boring show.
Yes, the Ice Cave episode was definitely the weakest of the season.
I mean, there's just
And-
you know, there's
So
other stuff
far.
to watch, Jake.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We got four
but
more episodes to put up whether that's going to be the weakest of the season.
but if you don't watch
Good
The
point,
Siege, you don't get to see the great Gina Carano return.
And I heard it was really good. So please don't worry about the fact that I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. Just jump right in.
Yeah, so I mean, so high level, Mando's ship is still all messed up, and he's not going to be able to make it all the way to Corvus where Ahsoka Tano is.
Okay.
So he makes a pit stop at Navarro. And
So many pit stops in this show. My God.
this one though, it worked, right?
Okay.
Because
It worked.
I mean, the ship is
Sometimes you want to go where everybody can fix your shit.
where everyone can fix your ship, by golly. Yes. So they pop back in to Navarro, and this one, I mean, it worked because the ship is still fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's not getting anywhere fast.
I can't
'Cause they-
believe they even let it leave the atmosphere after what happened on that ice planet. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saw the thing break in half.
Yeah.
Looks structurally gone.
Yeah. Like, you couldn't start like an old Chevy if that was the case, but somehow you can get this interstellar spacecraft out of the atmosphere. Okay. All right.
Ray Ron VR. I need to take a shot for each time his ship needs
I know.
repair.
You'd black out, Rayron. You wouldn't make it out.
You're not gonna make it through.
No.
I mean, that'd be like, if you had to take a shot every time Trump said fake news.
Right.
It's like you're
Every
gone.
time you make this gesture, and then you're blackout.
Or
And you're gone.
anytime Biden says, "Come on,
Come on,
you're
man.
done."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, the ship's all. I mean, it's still all kinds of messed up, and they drop into Navarro, and which of course gives us a chance to see Gina Carano and Carl Weathers again. And Carl Weathers directed the episode.
Oh, that's
and-
cool.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, like, and I'm very much a minority opinion on this.
Okay.
The story in the episode was good, but I didn't like the execution, particularly in the interpersonal scenes. Like Grief Karga in particular, Carl Weathers' dialogue was clunky as hell.
Really? Did Favreau write it? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, it's
he
Favreau.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it, just it. I don't know if it was because of Weathers' directing, and maybe he doesn't have a lot of directorial experience. I'm not aware of anything he's directed. It doesn't mean he hasn't, but I
Right.
think this was his debut as a director.
As far as I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't think of any Carl Weathers films that he directed. Not that I like. So I mean, he's definitely, as far
Yeah.
as I know, he's not known for it.
Yeah, and I'm leaning towards maybe that was the issue, as it was kind of a directorial debut problem. But like scenes about a third of the way into the episode, there's some sort of setup dialogue, walking around kind of scenes, and they just the acting performances really fell flat for me. Both Gina and Carl.
Yeah.
And whoever was in the Mando suit, I don't, we don't know who it was. So,
You know what? It's because Gina was really good, I think, in episode 7 and 8 of the first season. She was really interesting, very compelling, very strong, but she was not in episode 4, the one that Bryce Dallas Howard directed. She was really stiff and not very charismatic and just kind of basic. But episode 7 and 8, I think it was Taika Waititi did episode 8, and I think episode 7 was Favreau or that woman Deborah Chow, who are both really, really good at directing. So someone who's not as gifted, who doesn't really see those nuances when they're in charge of all the different things, I can absolutely see that for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think that may have been the issue because you're right. Gina was a little rough in her intro episode there. So while we're just getting into the Mando talk, say hey and welcome to our good buddy 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. How are you, brother?
Good, man. How are you doing, sir?
I am. You sound like you're in an echo chamber a little bit, Nick.
Is that good or bad?
It's like you're in stereo.
Yeah, you could be announcing at a ball game or something.
Well, I've switched over to a different set because I'm getting a new microphone. So maybe I'll try to dumb down my volume a bit.
Yeah. Pull your volume down a little. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so I'll dumb that down. Okay. Anyways, yeah, no, I'm doing good. Nice to see all you gentlemen. Draco, Fall Ball, pleasure.
Hello, sir. How's it going?
It's going, man. Finished work, had my dinner, and all having my coffee, so all is good in my hood, you know.
Nice.
Oh, and we got the sweat on my. Oh my God! This is.
I mean, it's a party now, man. Polly's
hang.
Polly, make it.
Where's your Dodgers hat, Polly?
Yeah, where's the Dodgers hat?
Gentlemen, I guess you got to represent, sir. You got to represent. Hat on.
It's all about the Rams now.
There you go.
Right.
So, all right,
can you guys
man.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
You are coming through.
Nick, Polly, reactions to Chapter 12 of Mando, high level. What do you think, Nick?
I dug the episode. I mean, I do have some nitpicks. I will definitely say I have some nitpicks, but that seems to be common for every episode. But overall, I definitely enjoyed it. It was nice to see some much needed story movement. And I like that the episode is kind of like a go, considering that there are some episodes this is like, some shit needs to pick up, bro. So now it's just like, bro, here's our response. We're now picking up, man. Now you better be watching. I'm like, I'm here, bro. Now I'm watching. So that was you know, for me as a consumer, I was happy to see that. And of course, you know, more ties to I just once again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Moff Gideon having his presence is just awesome. Like, I feel that shit when he yells on the chills. Yep. Like, I'm like, yes. And you know what? The less is more factor is working in his favor. And I hope, in my opinion, that they keep it that way because, I don't know. I feel like that adds to his character. And, I mean, well, obviously we'll see. Hopefully they don't overkill it. And, no, I mean, it seems like, Carl Weathers knows at least what he's doing as far as getting the directing job done. Now, those are my positives. Shall I go on with some of my negatives?
Let's we'll move into that in a sec.
Okay.
So Polly, culture needs to know if that's an empanada.
Incorrect. Try again.
And Kent Barnes wants to know if it's a Danish.
It better be a raspberry Danish, bro.
Bro.
Ooh, is that cheesecake flavor or something?
What is that? Concha.
Ooh.
A concha?
Is that local?
It's a pastry.
Is that local?
Be careful, Matt. You might be featured on the Spanish word of the day if you don't watch out.
There's a Spanish word of the day.
The concha is life. The concha is bread. It's baked. And
according to Google,
sugar.
Yeah, according to Google, it's a traditional Mexican sweet bread roll. Get their name from their round shape, their striped seashell-like appeance.
Bob, you don't need to look at Google when you have a Mexican on the stream with you, brother.
I like immediacy. I just don't like to wait.
You know I love you.
I like answers.
All right. Now,
look at that.
Culture has commented that we clearly don't have enough estrogen on the stream, but now Culture, if you pop on, then 2 out of the 3 panelists will have long flowing locks.
That's
Culture. Close, right?
Do it. Come on, do it now. Come on. Oral mango.
Mango.
Your sound sounds way better, man.
Thank you. Good to know. It's just, once again, the headphones. I ordered my new mic, so I should have it in sometime this week. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be beautiful. And now I'm going to be firing on all cylinders like a fucking
There you
jabroni.
go, man. So, what'd you think of Chapter 12 of Mando, Polly?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I just saw it the other day. It makes me want to see it again. What was so funny, fool?
Oral mango.
Hashtag oral mango, bro. I'm so glad this is still a thing.
It's been a long weekend. I'm
Dude.
just like,
Paulie, your Spanish word of the day videos are one of the funniest points of my entire week.
oh. Orale. So foul ball. I don't know if you know what's going on.
I don't. No, but
Oh,
I'm trying to pick it
It's
up.
been 15 minutes. Quick reminder, because we have to repeat things on YouTube. You're going to see my kids popping in the background occasionally.
Hey, what's up, mijo?
Hello.
Yeah. So the first word was orale, and which means you want to look that up?
No, that one I happen to know because it's the Beck album. It's the Beck album, Odele.
But do you know why he named it that?
No.
His stepdad is a Chicano.
Oh, that's why he's got such a Latino influence in his music.
Correct.
Mujeres.
Yeah. So I threw the word out to Drunk 3PO in one of his super chats. So he has to read it. He's got to read it.
He's got it. He's obligated.
And man, he said,
"Oh God!"
He said oral mango because the script was supposed to be orale mango, right? Because Mongo Big Thinks was on his panel, and I was like, "Jay, love you, man. Orale mango," you know.
And it was oral mango.
Oral mango, man.
Oral mango needs to always be a thing from here on out, and I'm still waiting for that shirt. I will buy 5 of them.
I gotta get with Poncho, who makes my
dude.
shirts.
You put that on the store, I will buy it, Paulie.
I love that.
I still owe you. I gotta get your address, bro. Sorry about that, Jake. I got your cup right here.
All right, and I will resend it to you in Discord, man, after the stream.
Hey, Draco.
So you loved it, man. Tell me what you loved about the episode, Paulie.
It was one of those episodes that could stand alone. It was a good, beginning, middle, end. Good action. Obviously, the filmmaking was a lot of fun. I own it. You know what I found funny was that the actual hand-to-hand combat choreography I thought was actually a little sloppy. I thought it could have been shot way better because Gina, I was like, oh, that's jujitsu. Oh, she's doing this. But the camera work was a little flat on that. I mean, yeah, I was liking it on a lot of levels. I thought there were some badass moments, and so as a self-contained little show, little episode, I was very happy. I don't know about the whole season, but we'll see.
Ooh.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So Draco, I don't think we've heard your thoughts yet on this chapter 12, brother.
Well, I did, at least as far as what I would expect from this cartoon of a show. I was pleased. Well, it all comes back to that because to me, it seems so appropriate to refer to this show as, to call it as I see it, and this is a live action cartoon, and it's simple, bite-sized pieces, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some of it better, some of it worse. Now the thing is that when you get right down to it, it gives us many elements that you would expect, especially from the genre that we expect so far. You get characters meeting back up that we've already had setups for. You get things that have to move forward. The writing is a little bit. I couldn't even put an appropriate. I don't want to talk down because I know Jon Favreau seems to be trying on so many levels. I feel almost like his scripts need polishing more than's being provided, and I think that's part of it when you get down to some of the dialogue, like what you talked about with Carl Weathers. Maybe some of that could have been a little bit smoother. I'm not gonna speak to that. Just let's put it this way: I liked the episode on its own merits, but it feels like, okay, so this is 1 out of 8, and of the 4 so far, I wish there was at least one other episode that I could say I was more happy about. I'd rather think at this point that we were hitting on at least 50% full positive.
It's the halfway point in the season, and I mean, for myself, for the first half of the season being wrapped, I'll give that half a season 2. I'll bring it in at a 7 now. For me, it's a 7 out of 10 for the first half, which there's, and part of it is some of the things that we've talked about, right? I don't disagree that it's a live action cartoon. In many ways it is, and it's not sophisticated. It looks really fucking good most of the time.
At least it's one of the best things that you can claim to it. It's solid. It looks so well put together. It looks appropriate, and it looks like it fits in the universe.
Yeah, and it was very OT, but we did have that awful ferret in this episode. It was good. They're solid. The ferret was not.
It's a ferret, a space ferret.
Yeah, that little ferret was bad.
Because it wasn't a good. They're trying. They're trying to do the live action puppets and things, and it's.
If you wouldn't have mentioned it, that was pretty forgettable for me.
It stuck out to me because it was so bad.
I think it's going to be attached to. I think it's going to be attached to Dune now.
Silly.
I was going to say, man, Rayron's comment there, I tend to agree with that even more than live action cartoon, because live action cartoons are usually consistent. They have like kind of a theme. Like this show is kind of all over the place. Like sometimes it's all about finding the Mandalorians, and sometimes he's just got to get his ship fixed, and like sometimes like Baby Yoda comes along for the fights, and sometimes he just hangs out with like a babysitter. It's like, what? It's so inconsistent. Live action video game is way more accurate because there's all these side quests. Yeah, there's all these little, like relay missions that don't do anything to the main story. You just got to go get a thing and bring it back to the thing and get your reward, and then, move down the game board, if you will. Like, it's. I think that's a more accurate description, to be completely honest.
And the biggest, probably the single biggest criticism I've got for the first half of the season is we've really seen the same story in all 4 episodes. Mando needs something. Somebody's got that something, so he does some kind of, to Rayron's point, it's like a video game side quest in order to get whatever it was he was after. So it's
and the first season was the same way.
Yeah, I was gonna say first season was definitely the same way. Which all those episodes, in the pure sense, they are that to a degree.
Yeah.
Yes, and so we're really just getting variations of the exact same story every single episode. They've added to season 2 that we always get Baby Yoda eating jokes every episode, and sometimes the gags land a little bit better than others. like this episode, loved it. He's sitting in the little schoolhouse, and one of the kids is eating cookies or macaroons or something, and won't give Baby Yoda one, so he takes them with the Force. And, like, that one worked for me. I laughed my ass off. It was funny. But we all know people have freaked out over the eggs.
I thought it really unsettling. That whole plot line was not okay. He's the villain.
Baby Yoda was an ass in that episode.
Like, he's a baby.
Stop eating them.
All right. I think Jake would know as
chance for her progeny to go into the future, and he's eating the kids. Well, it doesn't even matter at that point. It's the idea. You could all the possibilities of how you could take this, and we've already seen some of that stuff online, haven't we, gentlemen? About how many ways you could take this. Oh, they're unfertilized. They're not actually children. She needs them. The whole idea is that she's got them now. She's already birthed them. It doesn't matter that they're not. Some are not going to make it. Some will.
She loves them.
Every time you take one away, the chances go down.
Yeah. She like in that hot spring, she's like bathing with them in like a motherly way. Mm-hmm. Like She loves those eggs. Those are in her mind. Those are her children. And Baby Yoda's like, I popped another one in my mouth. I'm so cheeky. It's like, what are you doing? Stop him.
I'm gonna say Jake would know as a dad that babies like to be dicks at times. Like we've all had when it's kind of like the moment where you think everything. All right, let me give an example, and then this is not to justify the egging because it's totally wrong, but it's one of those moments, Jake, you would know where you think everything's going fine, but when it's too quiet in the house, you know something is up. Something is up. It could be like the child drawing on the wall type of thing. It's that type of equivalent, except this baby is eating eggs. This is his drawing on the wall equivalent. Once again, it's not right at all, but that babies don't know what to do. They'll take their own shit and they're going to smear it wherever they want. And this baby's just acting irresponsible like a baby does. This baby's not going to know that the egg has life in it. Once again, it's still wrong. Doesn't make it right, but if you think about it in that sense, that's where that baby's coming from.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, a lot of people thought it was hysterical, and I was torn.
I was torn too. I was torn too. I feel like that's where they're coming from, though. But yes, totally.
I think besides the what's it called? The space. What is it?
Ferret.
A little rat. Sparrowt. I think everything was. I think everything. Well, everything worked for me. I love the opener.
Yeah, the open was good. I like.
What are we waving at?
Kent leaving.
Kent Barnes.
I wasn't looking at the chat. I was like, okay.
And
you get a little bit of the Cara Dune show.
Yes.
I think everything was working. I actually love that. I love that beginning where Yoda was in that small space. The baby was in the small space with the wires. That was great. That was
awesome. That was great.
That was a good scene.
It was a father-son bonding moment.
It was.
It was hilarious.
I was a little bit going like, oh, the kid is, but is this kid far enough along to even know what red and blue, and he's just pulled out. I'm thinking like, you put the kid in there. This is a lot of critical stuff for this ship. And you'd put the kid in there. Boy, you trust him more than I would, but I guess you have limited options. Okay, then.
Well, now, Draco, don't tell their mother, but I've asked my kids to help me out with things that were maybe a little bit.
Don't put them together. Jeez.
Guilty.
Hold this wire in his hand.
Guilty.
Don't touch them. Don't touch them together.
Don't touch them.
So Mrs. Slant.
Don't connect that circuit.
Mrs.
Slant was watching it with me, that part, and so she came away with the episode saying, imitating the baby,
Okay.
Which is hilarious because he's like talking to the baby, and he's like,
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as shit, man.
Oh, that was a great scene. It worked perfectly. It was really good. And
like you said, not all the jokes, and it can't be too jokey. I don't know, right? It goes back to the identity of this show. They doesn't know what it is still.
I think they balanced it pretty good in this episode, honestly. You got a couple of gags with Baby Yoda, and I mean, he's there for the cute factor, and he's there for a little bit of funny factor. That's his purpose.
Doggy.
Yeah.
Bro.
Dude, I don't know if you saw my comment earlier, Polly, but like totally cute, but like under 10 pounds, that's not even a dog, man.
Yeah, don't be a jerky.
That's fuck,
so officially adopted today, guys.
Yeah.
Him and his brother were left in they were the last in a backyard of dogs that were left uncared for, no names.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an awful situation. They were rescued, and we're pretty happy, man.
Yeah, and,
cool, man.
And you're exactly right, Alex. That's sort of how it goes with being a dad when mom comes home after you've been in charge.
She's okay. Not a lot of amperage.
Voltage is fine.
It seems.
You weren't gonna be able to do anything else about it. It was the only thing we could do. So I thought, well,
exactly.
Why not?
It's fine.
You'll learn these things when you become a father someday, Matt.
That's when you get the long-suffering look from the wife. I don't know these things.
So, Mary G says, "Congratulations on the puppy, Polly."
Yes, congrats.
So, but the story was good. The comedic parts that they mixed in were good. The action was good, but that really flat interpersonal scene about a third of the way in, to our point earlier we were talking about, it snapped me out of the immersion.
Was that one of those like we're talking about our feelings episodes?
No, it was the dialogue was really clunky, and the performances were just not good in that couple of scenes.
Because I remember back in season 1 when they're defending that little shrimp village, with when you first meet Cara Dune. There were so many scenes where they're just like, "Oh, my feelings," and they were just like, it would grind to a halt, and you're like, "Oh my god, you can go back to shooting things." It's just so dull. So I wasn't sure if it was like, is that the tone of these sequences where you're just like, ugh.
No, they were good, sort of just dialogue, world building, scene building kind of conversations. It wasn't, like a flat feelings in hallways kind of thing.
Okay.
It just,
yeah.
It was.
I love that. Feelings in hallways.
Feelings in boats.
It's so spot on.
Yeah, it was just like something about that couple of scenes where, they were basically laying out this week's side quest. And discussing what had changed on Navarro since the last time we'd been there.
What did change, by the way? I'm kind of curious.
So Karga is now the magistrate.
Okay.
And Gina Carano is now the marshal.
Okay.
I saw the funniest meme earlier. One of my friends sent me, and it had Cara Dune and what's his name from episode 1 of the Marshal, Timothy Olyphant's character, and they're in front of the Marshall's like superstore together since they're both Marshals now. I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, how did I not come up with that shit sooner?
That's clever.
I know, right? I was like,
I like that.
good.
Marshals.
Yes, that's
Great
the one
deals
where
in Marshals. All jokes aside, really good deals. Lots of good finds.
So episode chapter 4 that Bryce Dallas Howard did was definitely the worst episode of the entire series so far. Completely agree. Purple Valkyrie, welcome to the stream. We are so glad to have you. Thank you for popping in.
Hello, Purple Valkyrie.
Which was the episode where Cara Dune, in season 1, she's battling was it the monsters, and she's like, "Come to mama," and she like blows them up or does, that was a really good. That was really good.
Was that chapter 7 or was that chapter 8?
Let me look it up.
Because in 8, I think all they do is fight stormtroopers who are essentially paper cutouts of villains. They have no threat whatsoever. You might as well just knock them over like the bad guys in THX 188 or whatever that movie was.
Must have been chapter 7 then that he's thinking of.
So lame. I'm like, they are no threat. Like, this is not compelling.
I don't think it was just a stormtrooper. Like, this was like a bona fide monster or big ass.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of chapter 7. Yeah, Matt really despised chapter 8. I watched his review on that.
Whoa, bro.
Well, it's not. They edited it so well. They had like so much tension, and they're like, "Nah, never mind." No, let's have fun.
The good thing about season 2 is it's validated Carl Weathers' fear of being eaten by Baby Yoda.
Oh man, you're right. I never thought that. You're right. Look at you.
Oh man, yeah, because
Casino.
Yeah.
Later.
Thanks for popping in, Culture. We
Sure.
love having you here, brother. And you are welcome to join anytime you have the time, my friend.
Later, Cuddles.
But yeah, I mean, that was. We remember the force healing scene from season 1, right? And and Grief freaked out, thinking little Baby Yoda was going to eat him. And
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
He eats everything else. Why not Grief Karga?
Well, if anything, Grief Karga's already has character development because he went from being afraid of the baby to all of a sudden being all like, "Oh my God, come here!"
Yeah.
So that's his character development.
Good arc. Good arc.
At least it wasn't a circle. He didn't.
He's come
freak
full
out.
circle.
He's really developed. He's seen a lot of growth.
But I mean, the assault on the Imperial base was cool. Overall, like, it was good action. Everybody a part of it, and I liked, the chase with the TIE fighters was cool. I mean, it was a bit Deus Ex Machina with the fully repaired Razor Crest coming into the fray, but it worked. It wasn't like bad Deus Ex Machina on the rescue there. You do that some. It wasn't. Other than the ship was repaired really fast. It was.
Dude, that was one of my complaints. So it was just like, don't get me wrong, it was cool to see the ship back in action, like mid condition. But I'm like, bro, they could have at least showed us like one quick glance of like 30 mechanics working on it, and maybe like, okay, 30 mechanics, but like it was just like straight to work without seeing a glimpse of how the ship was being worked on, and that thing was. I was just like, bro, that was fast. Like, I mean, what?
He couldn't have been there more than 8 or 10 hours at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Time works different in a show and a movie. That part I can always, like, for the most part, look past. But just like the fact that as badly damaged as that ship was, this wasn't brake issues, this wasn't alignment issues, this wasn't even an engine issue. This was the nearly the entire Razor Crest being held up by things. Like, this thing was on the verge of a breakdown, like a 50-year-old car that has no life left in it. And somehow it's just all completed. They might as well just say, here's a new Razor Crest.
They do that
right
all the time.
Yeah, so episode 4 was for me was actually a successful failure because it introduced Kara, and I thought her one-on-ones and fights, I thought she was great in it. The fight scene between her and Mando, and then the baby while eating soup, watching them, was awesome. The village and all that stuff was garbage.
Why was she punching his helmet though?
Why not? They're gonna feel that in the head when you get punched in the helmet.
Yeah, you get rattled around.
You're gonna feel it in your fist too, because it's Beskar that's supposed to be like laser proof. Like, I feel like it might fuck your wrist up.
Yeah, but we'll take
She's
another.
an ultimate fighter. I don't know. All I know, she could probably throw that punch better at helmet than I ever could.
Oh,
so.
for sure. Oh no, for sure.
She's in the same gear she was during that fight.
Well, she's got
armored gloves on.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Good point.
Well, she's got gloves on, so to speak.
Okay,
She's
that's a
probably
fair
battle hard. That wasn't her first rodeo.
Maybe they're like future gloves. Like when you punch, they like solid up or something like that.
I noticed, Foulball, you are very like detailed. You look at the details and you pull them apart, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying.
I just try to do the thing, like focus on the things that stand out. If I'm watching it feels weird, I'm like,
this whole show is very mediocre. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say
that's just the thing. We're like kind of like, we've said this before. I mean, but it's just a mediocre, decent product from Star Wars. I mean, this thing should be balls. This thing should be nails. I mean,
that was going to be my question to all you guys was like, do you think you need to kind of recalibrate your expectations when you're watching the show, like to enjoy it or just to contextualize it or something? Like, what do you
feel like I already have?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was a recalibration. I'm getting an OT feel. I'm not getting preached at.
There you go.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but like just not being preached at. I mean, just like Ray Ron VR is saying, right? Could be worse. It could be woke. And like anything that's got a halfway decent story that isn't preaching at me, I'm finding myself enjoying.
Can't argue with that.
That's fair enough. I just think with that type of product, right? With this, if I pick apart the things that stand out, I'm not gonna like it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me, I know the season. I mean, I don't give this season a 7 out of 10. No way. I give this episode a good 8. But, I'm with you. I'm with you, Foul Ball. But it's just like, man, I gotta, let me just, if my.
That is hilarious.
That's dope. Oh, Nick, let me retweet that.
As you should.
that is great, man.
That's funny, man.
Funny.
Yeah.
No, to answer Fable's questions, I mean, do I readjust my expectations? Absolutely, as you should. One, there's different settings between storyline, how the show's made, the way it's made. Like, it's a seasonal format of 8 episodes, which is 6 to 7 hours, and then you also got to deal with budgets, different CGI. So yeah, I do treat this very differently in many aspects, in many details. And anyone who isn't, then that's just someone who's probably such a hard fanboy. I mean, not to sound like a dick, but there are probably people who are just one of those, I'll always praise Star Wars no matter what, which is a little bit much, in my opinion, when that happens, because then you're not seeing something for truly what it is. Whereas that's how I want to view something, not for what is. I should view it for what is, not what I want it to be. Because when you view it for what you want it to be, that's where it can be problematic. Because then if it ends up being not what you want, then you might end up not liking it just because it ends up being different. Whereas if I rather hate it for what it is, then you know where I'm getting.
No, that's well put. I like that. I think that's
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just noticed, like, if I'm kind of looking at the show, like, from, like, if I wanted to satisfy, like, my critical story, like, point of view, it's just not going to do that. But if I just kind of tune in and be like, all right, there's going to be spaceships, there's going to be some ass-kicky stuff, like, is this going to be cool and fun? Like, I mean, yeah. So then I can kind of enjoy it on that level. It's just something that I realize, like, if I take it too seriously, I'm not enjoying it.
No, definitely. I don't think, as what's his face, Ray Ron always say, it's a live action video game, which to me I don't mind, because and this is gonna be a little bit of a hot take, like, and you're wondering how this relates, but I love the movie The Dark Knight. But the problem is, after that movie came out, everyone wanted to be so grounded and rooted in reality right after that came out in 2008. So it's nice for me personally to see things be a little bit more outlandish. I don't mind a bit of that, because it's just like everything was just so realism. So, and I like, and then once again, in movies, we're in a world where weirder things are more possible than in our universe, whereas movies like The Dark Knight aim to be at. So for me personally, I can look past that in that sense. But obviously, I've seen a few of your reviews. You're a detailed guy, which I respect. But
thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's just, I approach it from that angle. I like the outlandish and the impossible become possible in a world like this.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Draco? What's your take on that question? It's a good question.
Thanks.
Well, maybe I need to have the question rephrased again. But...
It's so good, I don't remember.
No, you just
the
need
thing
to
is, I'm just
pay
thinking
attention.
about this. Well, I have been paying attention. I have been paying attention to many things, like some of the things that Nick Weiser has been saying about if you are stuck on certain things, then maybe you must only be a fanboy. I think of not seeing the woke in it as what should be a standard, not anything that I give the show validation simply because it's not woke or not intersectional or not SJW. The thing that they're not preaching at all, that's good.
It is good.
That makes it stand out. That makes it stand out as separate from everything, and that means I can qualify it without actually putting it down, because it has that in it.
Yeah, and
it has none of it. So it is free of these things. I mean, that in and of itself gives it a qualification over and above almost all content today, and I want that to stand out, because that, more than anything else, is not necessarily a measure of the content, but it's a measure of the people who are creating it that they do not put this in it, that
Yeah.
they care about not putting it in it, that they care about not being as interested in their check boxes as they are in the good story.
Yeah, and Mary G made a really good comment here, and I noticed that Matt was shaking his head in approval when I popped it up, and that was, Mando is enjoyable, but The Expanse is wonderful entertainment, intellectual, science is logical, great acting, and complex storylines, and I could not agree more.
Couldn't believe it myself.
Absolutely.
What networks is The Expanse on? I see you guys chatting about it, and it's time I just make time to get the hell on it. Amazon? Okay. Well, I got Amazon, so I guess I can watch it this week. So
and hey, guys, Amazon is a write-off for all of us, except Draco, I think. But
Got to produce something in order to be able to write it off as a business expense.
That's right.
Right. Nick Weiser, it started on Sci-Fi Channel though. That's where it had its birth.
Oh yeah, SYFY,
Sci-Fi, and it got canceled by Sci-Fi.
Of course it did.
Of course it did, because they were
Like
relying.
Happy.
They
Like
don't know a
everything
good
else.
thing that they've got.
Well, they
No.
were relying. I looked it up. They were relying on the live views as proof that the show's good. I'm like, who watches anything live? Like on cable? No.
Yeah.
And so they canceled it, and then there was this big campaign to save it. There was like Save the Expanse. They had like the people pitched in to fly a banner over this big Amazon event so that they would buy it, and they bought it. They did season 4, season 5's coming out, and they already started writing season 6. So it's
so it's got actually made a few seasons. How many did it make before?
Season 6 is greenlit.
yeah.
Okay, so how many did it actually make on Sci-Fi? Because from what I've seen on Sci-Fi, it seems like shows are lucky if they make it on their past 1 or 2 seasons. So
3 seasons on
3
Sci-Fi.
seasons, and now it's been since with Jeff Bezos. Okay, hey, cool. It sounds like it's good. I need to watch it. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what about you, Paulie? What are you thinking as far as Matt's question about resetting your expectations on Mando goes?
Yeah, you kind of already done that with the movies, they kind of lowered your expectations so much, and then from the fandom over the last few years, you're just like over it. So anything that's decent, you're just like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
God!
I don't hate it. It's amazing.
It's not terrible!
They're not yelling at me. It's amazing.
What an achievement.
So besides all of what Draco said, so then you get like a child, because the child was the big hit last year.
Yes, he was.
It was huge,
Sure.
and because it was nostalgic, yet it was new.
Frog Lady's next.
I think what they're earnestly trying to do is they're trying to save the OG, and so I'm really liking some of the nods that they're giving to the OG. I mean, and even the prequels with the Midichlorian mention, and then the fact that what they're doing, what they were doing at that base. You're like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
He's up to some
stuff.
So I really like that.
The old targeting tech from like the X-Wings and the TIE fighters, and that's very nostalgic. Those sounds, you're like, oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
And the control boards, they all look like the OT.
Yeah, which is cool. It is cool to be completely.
The M count reference. That's I mean, I definitely caught it, Ray-Ron, and George made that part of Star Wars. So even if we didn't necessarily like it, I mean, he definitely made it part of Star Wars. Sure. And it tells us, though, to the points earlier about this episode having been good on story, is that filled in a lot of info that we had previously just been speculating about. What did they want the child for? Oh, well, the child was a donor of all this blood that they were using to infuse some kind of experiment. And what was important about it was the M count. So they're doing something to try to force infuse something.
And that's
Right.
also story, which is nice. There's like, a reason, there's progression in the overall plot. That's all good stuff.
Yes. And this was plot-wise best episode of the season. I mean, really, we learned so much about the universe and what was going on in this post-Empire world, which was
given
good.
an information dump. We are given more about what's going on in the greater universe. That these are things that we can now follow as critical series-wide plot devices.
Yes. And I mean, we learned a lot of important shit in this episode. We really did. We see, and it's courtesy of Moff Gideon, who's God, that guy's good.
He is.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, man, it's that presence with the music, and you just see him all standing and towering. I'm like, bro, this guy really ready to just fuck some shit up.
I'd also like to say that even though it was kind of like the same like plot, you were a little more invested because you knew all the characters. They weren't new characters and new characters and new characters. It was Carl Weathers and Gina Carano. It almost felt like you're familiar with these characters, like, and you love them like you love our prequel characters, our OG characters. I got that connection, that emotional connection, more than I had ever had.
Sounds like you had a comfort food equivalent.
Yeah, it was totally, man. And this is such a good villain. I mean, like
A little concha.
what's that? What, my concha?
He's a concha of a villain. Yeah.
That
A little comfort food.
That was a snack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see the villain in his element. And Giancarlo Esposito, I
love that
want
you
him
could
in
see his
everything.
face, man. I think that's why Rogue One works so well too. I mean, you had Darth, you had the creepy Peter Cushing, but you had Ben Mendelsohn, man.
Yeah, I liked Krennic. He was a good villain.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was a good villain, man. I enjoyed him. And
Oh,
hail Lord Thoth! Guys, I need to warn you. Lord Thoth is here to provide me a little bit of backup on why there were parts of this episode that really were not very good.
Let's get spicy now. Let's pour this shit on. Let's sprinkle it.
I gotta readjust my mic. All right, let's go.
Oh, Paulie's getting ready to take us on there, Thoth.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hello.
Lord Thoth.
Welcome.
I figure you guys
aboard.
would be all done bitching and complaining about this episode by now.
Are you
Really?
who are you trying to kid?
That's how you walk in, huh?
I gotta support my man, Jake D. What do you mean?
He's
That's how you
taking
walk in.
people in.
You're gonna support Jake D? What about supporting me, brother? What's up?
Oh, I'm right behind you, Ollie. I think that there was good and bad in this episode. So, what did you guys all talk about? Did you?
Yeah.
Is it 4 against 1 or what?
No.
No, I think I'm the one probably the most negative on it. Nick's probably behind me there. We had different complaints though. But
I haven't
Thought
seen
we
it.
were staying off the negative.
well, Baby Yoda couldn't stay off the negative at the beginning, so why should
That
we?
was my favorite scene, seeing the child get electrocuted,
good.
man.
Hello.
That is how a child learns. So they gotta do this. They gotta do that stupid shit.
That's
and
why
never-
my hair's always standing on end.
Well, I mean,
was,
Thoth, I know you're a father, and Nick and I both admitted to asking our kids to do stuff they probably shouldn't have gotten their hands on. So, are you with us there?
Absolutely. You tell them and they do the opposite. So
Oh yeah, dude.
I think you just got to start out and say, "Hey, stick your fingers in there and see what happens."
You know what?
Yeah.
Just go for the plug outlet. Just go for it already.
Yeah,
All right.
see?
Get it over with.
The blue one or the red one?
Hang on, now Paulie's going to reenact the best scene of the entire show for us here. Let's see it. Let's see it, Paulie.
No, the red one. No, No, the
No,
other,
no, no.
the red one. You got to put the red one.
No,
where
yeah,
the blue
put
one-
the
blue one.
blue to
No,
the
not
top.
the blue one. No,
Don't touch them.
They're
Don't touch them.
oppositely charged.
Touch them.
No, you're not going to do that. Well,
That was worth the price of admission right there.
Oh my god, that was funny,
Dude. That was what? Just the stream's over. We're done.
We're done. All right, throw in the towel.
I get my acting lessons from Mrs. Slant, so there you go.
She must be a bona fide A+ actress then, because man, that was some kick butt acting.
I was going to say, is Miss Slant a well-known performer? Have we ever seen her before?
Oh yeah, you've seen her a lot. She's gonna be. She just recurred on Fox 911 as the fire chief.
Cool.
And then she's got a couple other things. I'm gonna do. I'll do a big, probably Wednesday on my Wednesday show. I'm gonna feature her and her. She's the lead in a play that they
Great.
produced
Yeah.
but filmed for the virtual world.
Paulie,
cool.
if you've got the link, drop it in the private chat, and we'll get her out in the for the stream.
But it's
signal boost
it's
on that.
called Oedipus El Rey. It's a retelling of the Greek tragedy Oedipus.
Oh.
And she plays Jocasta, and she's amazing. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh man, you're fanboying over there.
Oh,
Paulie-
that's so funny. Yeah,
Paulie featured the link for that on his Medio Latino Friday stream.
I did.
It was good. So he showed us a little bit of the video of it, and I know myself, I will watch it. I haven't had a chance yet, but
Yeah, no, it's all
yeah.
good. You know,
All right.
Foulball asked me, so I'm like, I'm always ready to pump her.
of course, man.
Her
Yeah.
credits.
I mean, I'm in LA, as you know. I'm an actor too, so I was just like kind of like,
No, I didn't know that, but
Who's in there, boo-boo?
we should do an LA fandom meetup. I was telling
I
you.
think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that other guy who was in the member stream today, Commander, I forgot his name, but he's also an LA guy, I believe, as well.
Yeah, of Shado. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hate that guy. No,
He used
I
to be
hate that guy.
Drake. The YouTuber formerly known as Drake is 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's changed his
that guy's
name 3 times in the last couple of weeks. There, every time I
Yeah.
see him, he's got a new name.
His
I think
channel
he got his Twitter.
gets nuked.
Yeah. I think he got banned or something, didn't he? Didn't he lose his YouTube channel too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got nuked
Man.
a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that boy doing?
He's
I just- Go ahead.
nothing different than he's ever done, according to him. I have to take him at his word. I have no reason not to. So, he probably got a little salty. So, people have been getting nuked for being salty recently.
Excuse me.
It happens.
Yep.
Happens. What is this? How do you? Yeah, Baby Groot versus Baby Yoda. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very astute observation, Eric. And yeah, absolutely. The success of Baby Groot probably had a hell of a lot with the conception of the Baby Yoda character. I'd agree 100%. So I dropped a link in the chat there to get to Mrs. Slant's Oedipus production. And, highly, especially if you're a fan of the Oedipus Rex play, which I am, it'd be cool to see this reimagining. And plus,
it's
Paulie's Mrs. Slant is in it.
yeah, it's free. It's free for a couple of months. It's well produced. It's part of the Greek trilogy that Luis Alfaro rewrote for modern day LA. So it's a trip.
And as I understand it, Center Theater Group is one of the most prestigious in LA.
It's the Broadway of the West Coast. I mean,
Yeah.
So Mrs. Slant, when you say Mrs. Slant, is she an actor? I'm like, oh yeah.
I mean, in a city full of actors, you know what I mean? Having the best acting theaters, that's something.
Yeah, she's trained at the Center of Performing Arts East Coast, and then she did Rutgers, which has a very prestigious.
Rutgers, New Jersey.
That's
where I'm from.
No, she's from Newark.
Oh
No kidding! I'm from Essex County.
Oh shit, that's funny.
We lost
That's
Bob.
crazy.
He's reconnecting.
Yeah, I think because of his sound, I think that's usually Wi-Fi when that stuff happens.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll be back. And dang it, I was going to try to prompt him on where he was.
Where are you,
We'll get him back in a minute, man. But I mean, you're going back to Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude, Esposito is probably the best actor right now playing villains to me. On the big or the small screen, I don't think there's anybody better right now.
Well, Mendelsohn was great. He plays villains a few times.
He is quite good at that. He was good in that movie, Killing Them Softly.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he plays like this greasy, like heroin addict. I don't think he was quite a villain, just more of a fuck up. But he was really good.
He's fantastic. Both of them have such great range. They're fantastic.
Excellent presence, wonderful presentation of material.
Yeah. So other than Baby Yoda just about killing himself, what else did you like about the episode, Thoth?
How's my mic? I heard I have a crackle or something.
There's some cracking going, but we can still hear you enunciate your words.
It's not bad.
Is it better now?
Go to the back of the house.
It's better
still
now.
there.
Yeah, it might be
Still there,
just a
but
bad
just
connection.
speak well. Just speak clearly, you'll be fine.
Oh, okay. What did I like and dislike? Anytime you take me back to an Imperial base where there's stormtroopers and Imperial officers and dark troopers and Giancarlo Esposito, and anytime to do the whole I like that they advance the story here quite a bit. I love the idea that using the M factor in the blood is part of the plot. I didn't like a lot of the acting. I was actually quite surprised because I thought it was a little bit wooden, considering that they were in a life and death chase. That the stormtroopers are bearing down. They've got 4 TIE fighters coming after them. They're in a stressful situation, and it just seemed to be less emotion, less fear for your life. It was like old hat to them. It was like they were going to the corner store and picking up some milk and eggs. But other than that, I mean, anytime I get to see Gina Carano on screen, I can forgive that.
How did I know this is gonna go there? I was just like, wait for it. Ah, there we go.
I wanted her to get down and dirty and hand to hand those stormtroopers, man. Like, throw some wrestling moves in there, not drop the blaster and just go all in.
Judo kick them and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did get that in her opening scene in the old covert.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I liked that. That was a good opening scene. You know, whenever you throw me into some action right off the bat, that's the best kind of an episode. Hey, Vigilante Williamson. Good to see
you, Vigilante.
Hail Vigilante.
Hail, Vigilante.
I like that. I love opening a show whereby a woman of her fighting caliber gets to show off her skills, because I can tell you what, there was probably very little coaching from the on-site martial arts coordinator. I bet you
she's
just
probably
said,
the coach. She's probably the one telling everyone else.
Exactly. She said, "Here, hold my beer," and she just took them down. Like she was like, "Woo!" So, and you could see the smile on her face as she was doing it too. That little.
She enjoyed that.
So that was great. I love that. I am starting to get tired of the child a little bit. I get the cuteness factor and all that, but it's season 2 now. Let's move on. Give her to Ahsoka next episode, or whatever's happening next episode, and let's get to some bounty hunting and some kicking some butt.
You know, Alex makes a good point here, right? And no, he really does. I mean it. Like he does make a great point here, and they've got a great way to do it. They've given the Mando his out for getting that helmet off.
Yeah,
hey, there you go. Hey, that dude's a good-looking guy, and the ladies like to look at him. We all know this.
Didn't they do this in the last episode, in episode 3, with like those? Because I watched a few minutes of that episode, but I didn't finish it. But it was where they're like, oh, certain like clans of Mandalorians take their helmets off, but not everybody.
Yes, it's like, because didn't Jaren come from like more of a cult? Yeah, the Child of the Watch. It's like more of a cult type of thing.
So it's weird. It's like they're working towards having him like take the helmet off, but like they're not gonna pull the trigger. But it's like we already saw him without his helmet on, so it's like it's just this weird like pact that they made that they didn't have to make, and now we're kind of stuck with. And it's like, just take the fucking helmet off. Like it's
Yeah. I mean, I still go back to when we heard about all the shit about him being pissed about the helmet.
Yeah.
That my first reaction was, no, fuck you. You know what you signed up for.
Sure.
And watching this season, I'm completely on Pedro's side on the helmet issue. It needs to come off.
Yeah, because you get to see like, well, hey, other Mandalorians are taking their helmet off. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's how Pedro sounds. By the
I
way.
could just hear the whiny throwdown that happened, where he's like, "What? What? Katie Sackhoff gets to take her helmet off, and I can't? Wah!"
That's
Like,
probably how it happened.
That's
That probably is.
not just her, but
Now,
four other
three of them.
Mandalorians. Four other Mandalorians.
Now,
Yeah, you're right.
We can't forget, though I get where Pedro is coming from on this down, and I've, for the most part, flipped my position as well. We can't forget that the guy who played the body motions of Darth Vader was not the same guy who was the voice actor Darth Vader, and looked at how much we felt from Darth Vader. Granted, he was not the main role of all roles, but it's just like, he's still such an iconic character, and we didn't see his face until the very end.
However,
Yeah, it's
who
different.
do you remember as the portrayer of Darth Vader? Not the guy in the costume.
Not
The
David
voice.
Prowse.
The
You know?
voice, James Earl
voice.
Jones.
So
the voice, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
JEJ.
different. That's a different. Those aren't really similar.
You think so, huh?
I'm with
No,
Polly
because-
on this one.
Well, because
Yeah.
Darth Vader was such an archetype. He was the villain. Then he was made more complex in the middle of The Empire Strikes Back. Then towards the end of Empire Strikes Back, where he says, "I'm your father," you're like, "Wait a minute, this guy isn't a monster. He's not a machine." Wow! And then he was humanized pretty much in every scene in Return of the Jedi, which I thought his scenes with Luke were amazing.
Yeah.
The Mando thing is just, to me, he's our hero. Pedro Pascal ain't no James Earl Jones.
I mean, he doesn't have
Ooh.
as
Pedro Pascal
iconic
is a great actor, by the way.
He is. He is
Oh, I agree, but I got to agree with Vigilante. At least when we're talking about as a voice actor, I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
come on,
There's no comparison.
You know?
But Pedro is not a voice actor. You know.
No,
Which
and
again, it's like,
Back to
how
that
can you have Pedro Pascal behind a mask this whole time?
He does. Considering what like that, he does a really good job. Like he conveys a lot of like he works very hard on his dialogue. You could hear there's a lot of emotion when he's just doing the voiceover stuff, and when he is like, you know, using his body, he does communicate a lot without us seeing his face, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, Ray Ron makes a great point, though, right? You need the connection, the human element, so that you can connect with Mando really on a deep level. You get that with Django, you got it with Boba,
And
walking, talking armor.
Right, and again, the big difference between him and Darth wasn't the lead of these films. Mando's a guy we are seeing in almost every shot.
That's
a
true.
really good
No,
point.
that's true. I'll give you
It's
guys
a very
that.
good point,
Yeah,
actually.
I can't argue with that. But I understand where you're coming from though with the whole Darth Vader comparison. I mean, it's a reasonable one.
Yeah.
Hey,
And-
Alexander, go see Narcos, man. First 2 seasons, Pedro blew that shit up.
He's the one who got me into Game of Thrones, actually, because I was listening to an interview with him because I tried it and I was like, and I just kind of put it away and everyone kept talking about it. And then I heard an interview with him and I was like, all right, fine. I'll watch this amazing show. And then I got super hooked. But it was Pedro with like his interview.
And then you saw season 7 and 8, and you never forgave him, did you?
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Ray Ron, I've stopped watching. I've stopped follow. I still follow him, but I don't pay attention to his pages now.
I don't follow most of like the people I enjoy watching on social media. It's just too disappointing.
I follow Gina.
It's a
Gina.
good point.
Gina. Hell yeah.
Well, Gina, absolutely. I follow her everywhere.
Yeah,
There might be a little stalking going on.
Gina, if you're somehow watching this, we are sorry.
Anyone comes up to me, I just flash a
was
tin and say
you
sorry.
in the
Yeah, it's a
Canadian plate vehicle.
Ontario plates. That's right. We're getting a little bit of a snowstorm here. That's why I'm back so quick. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see the snow down. We got the Christmas lights up and everything, and yeah, busy couple of days coming up. But other than that, yeah.
Here in the States, we wait until after Thanksgiving before you put the Christmas lights up, brother.
That's my hard and fast rule.
When I saw the forecast was snow, 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 I said, if I don't get them up now, they ain't going up. So
That's true. No, that's true, dude.
Good point.
Yeah.
Out here in Illinois, I'm surprised we didn't get snow already. Usually have it by Halloween.
it's yeah, November 11th is usually my set time. Is after Remembrance Day. I try to get them up then, and our Thanksgiving is sooner than the American Thanksgiving. So
Yep.
But yeah, James Earl Jones. It's funny you should say that because my wife and I have been doing classic 80s movie night on Friday night as kind of part of our date night. And what we've been doing is Friday night this time around, we watched Coming to America. So it's funny you should mention James Earl Jones because he's the king in that.
And Coming to America 2 is coming out here on Amazon next month, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's why we were kind of thinking we should get it in. We watched The Golden Child last week.
Oh.
So we thought it would be like a Eddie Murphy three-peat there. I don't know what's going to come. Well, we should do the next one.
We're doing a weekly kind of count back in movie watching right now. So Wednesday night has been movie night for my girlfriend and I, and her and I and my roommate will sit down and watch a movie. And we started with the year 2000 with Memento.
Wow.
Oh, God, that's a good movie.
I did.
Yeah,
a
other
little,
than that. Go ahead, Foulball. Go ahead.
No, I did a little Oliver Stone retrospective last night. I watched Wall Street and Platoon. They're both
Platoon.
Yeah.
So good.
They're both
Fucking
on Prime
Defoe.
right now. So yeah, it was awesome.
Platoon. Yeah, that Marine that goes into the barracks there and gives him that. I knew a guy like that in my basic training, man. Holy God! And he was about 6'5" and about 240 pounds, and you just look at him and you pee yourself.
Death? What you know about death?
What y'all know about?
Yeah.
Me, I don't need this shit. Escape reality. I am reality.
You ain't going to be no officer, son. You're only 5'9", 130 pounds, soaking wet. Get out that door and go home to your mama. Yeah. Oh, I remember it. I'm just sitting there going, yes, Sergeant. Good times.
Yeah. And, Man of War, you are not wrong about, actors opening mouth, inserting foot not being a new thing. Jane Fonda in particular, I remember. I had a good friend of my father's. He liked going to the VFW because they put Hanoi Jane's face in a target in the men's urinals. To Man of War's point, like those actions actually caused their careers to suffer.
Yeah, I think the difference with back then was we just didn't have a constant. I think if you asked anybody, like, what did you think, people in Hollywood thought about politics or whatever, we could all pretty much guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the constantness of it. And it's like when you see it, it's so unified that's when it really becomes like impressive. You're like, shut up, all of you. Stop talking. Stop. And it's like you find out about what they say without you even seeking it out. It's just like, it just becomes news. So I think it's just so much now. It's just enough.
Yeah.
It's constant.
I mean, let's bring up what the great Kurt Russell said just the other day, right?
Kurt, yeah. My guy. Captain Ron.
Yeah. Red Shirt says he's seen that exact sticker at a VFW post. Yeah.
The original Colonel O'Neill. Yeah.
I like him. What's his name from Little Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, so good.
yes.
Jack, we watched that 3
Jack
weeks ago.
Burton.
That was the movie we watched.
You know what old Jack Burton says in a time like this?
The
Yes,
check's
sir,
in the
check's in the
mail.
mail.
The check's in the mail. Have you paid your dues? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
Man, you sound just like him. That's awesome.
That is good. That's a good impression, man.
Dude, that whole monologue where he's on the truck and he's just like all into himself. It's the best. It's like one of the best scenes in cinema history.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's on uppers too, eh? Because truck drivers in those days, man, to go the 18 hours, you had to pop a few, right? And as a commercial motor vehicle interdiction inspector officer, I've had some chats with some guys.
As a professional.
Yeah, all the little secret hiding spots they used to have to keep their. But that's exactly what he sounds like. That he's popped a few. He's like, "Yes, sir, the check's in the mail." I don't know if he was trying to channel his inner country or Western star too. There,
I think he was doing a little John Wayne. I think
he was doing a little
Yeah.
job.
He was, man. But Kurt, he came out and said, clearly everybody on the panel is familiar with this, but Russell came out and he gave an interview where he basically said actors are the court jesters.
Oh yeah.
And that basically, in his opinion, actors should shut up and act.
And then he said because the reason was that like it kind of takes people out of it. Like it's harder for them to believe you're the character. And he's 100% right. The actors that are more reclusive, who are less in the public eye, you never question their. You don't look at it like, oh, that's like Brad Pitt or that's so and so. It's like when it's Gary Oldman, you're like that's whoever he's playing. It's like you're so captivated by the character. But yeah, if you're too out there, you talk too much. People are a little annoyed with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Kurt's dead right, and because what he's saying at the end of the day, and court jester it's not a fool. The court jester was like the one guy who could give the king the middle finger and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the smartest guy in the room too.
Oh hell yeah!
He's got to be witty. He's got to be witty. He's got to be quick. He's got to come up with these jokes. He's got to make people laugh. It takes a really, really smart person to make people laugh constantly over and over again, or else, well, in those days you get beheaded, right? So, you better be good.
Yeah, and so Kurt, Russell, he picked that very specifically because that was we hear all these stars talking about being influencers. But what Russell was talking about is the way to actually do it, and build it into your art in such a way that, nobody complains about messaging that's natural in a true part of the story.
Or if it's through your medium, it's why it's more interesting to hear like a Bill Burr talk about politics because he's a comic. That's what he does. He talks. So when he talks about whatever, it's interesting because that's his skill set. But it's like if you're a singer or whatever, and then you just bluntly state your opinion, it's not as interesting. If you wrote a song about it, that would be interesting. If you were an actor and you made a movie that reflected your values, that could be interesting. But it's to just bluntly say it, and your reason you don't hear why people don't like it is because you live in such an echo chamber. It's like, it's not interesting. It's just not. That's not why we like you. That's not our interest in you.
And Kurt understands what our interest is in him, and he, I suspect his politics are probably pretty left wing.
Probably, yeah.
I couldn't say
But
for
that
sure.
doesn't matter when he says this thing. That's just it.
And yet, and there's Kurt Russell playing some of the ultimate badasses of cinema history
Ever.
ever, right?
He's still doing it, by the way. He was still really badass in Hateful Eight, and he's still interesting. Yeah.
He's an alpha Santa Claus.
Oh my god, dude! 2 years ago, Christmas carols.
I'm just saying.
I have never envisioned Santa Claus as possibly being this assertive, badass alpha male.
Wait, is that worth seeing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
watch it.
Okay.
Now. Okay? Like that way I can pop quiz you on it later, Foulball. We'll take the test later. Get your pencil, get your paper, and then watch it, and then we'll talk later. Okay, done.
Take notes.
No, the thing is, me and my buddy Lindsay, we're doing 4 Christmas movies that either I haven't seen, she hasn't seen, or neither one of us has seen.
Pick that one.
Might throw that one into the mix.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, okay. I'll check that one out.
It was an instant classic for me as far as Christmas movies
So
go.
good. It's great.
It's not Die Hard, but it's pretty good.
I mean, Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie ever made. We all know this.
I always, whenever I hear actors starting to talk, the first thing I can think of is that old Abraham Lincoln quote, right? Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. And that's what I see a lot happening on, especially with social media being so instantaneous. So your first instinct is to tap, 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 and send something off. And then you realize, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Maybe I should shut up sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. But, well,
And
what
the
do you do,
thing-
right?
I think it's done with no humility. You know, like if Pedro, like after he did that thing where he kind of, did the stupid Trump supporter meme, and the whole like geeks and gamers dust up, which was awesome. If he was just like
That was
if he was
hysterical.
that was
Yeah.
But if afterwards he was just like, yeah, I got a little caught up. I was kind of being a jerk. You'd let him off the hook. You wouldn't like look at him through that lens anymore. But they never do that. I remember when who was it that the Jesse Smollett thing?
Juicy Smoulier.
Juicy Smollett and Ellen Page made like a big fuss about it, and then when it came out that it was all bullshit, she was like, well, it still totally happens. It's like, if you just showed a little bit of humility there, being like, oh, wow, that I got duped. I kind of feel like foolish for jumping on something that wasn't true. We would be way more engaged with you. We would feel more respect and empathy. But when you double down, even when it's proven it's bullshit, it's everyone like, oh, shut up. I don't want to hear you anymore. A little humility goes a long way, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, absolutely does. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Fallball, because sometimes for a lot of these celebrities, sometimes their comments ring truly hollow because you'll have them saying, all of them are this, it's the phobism. But then you'll have like your Kurt Russell or Chris Pratt, and then like the crazy psychotics will like try to talk smack about them on Twitter. And then you'll have those celebrities who are saying anyone who doesn't fall in line is phobism. Right. But then when it's a celebrity that they're friends with, all of a sudden, oh hey, they're off limits. I'm like, so now it's not all like, are you just like reading off a script? And once again, it's more NPC language. Like, yeah,
it is. And
like it's once again, their comments ring hollow. It's like, oh, you're bad. Unless I know you, then it's not. Then it's not, guys. This is the exception because I'm already friends with you. It's just like, what?
And the thing is, that's the thing. It's like you're allowed to think what you want, allowed to have your opinions, and
however you
want to view the world, of course. But it's that complete lack of humility. It's the arrogance and the self-importance that always comes that underscores it, where you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just never speak again, please.
Yeah. So, Alex,
that's why they're actors.
Yes. Don't ever come up with your own thoughts.
They're good at pretending to be what they are not.
Yes. Yeah. Do you like the perfect example? Sorry, Jake. I'm sorry. There's a perfect example. Was what's his name? Who played Joker?
Which one?
Ledger?
The most recent one.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
yeah.
The movie of the year, performance of the year, and then he gets his Oscar acceptance speech. He's just like, you shouldn't drink cow milk because babies eat cow. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, just say thank you and get off the stage. Like, what is happening? Yeah. Like, you're just crumbling in front of our eyes. Like, no, just the dialogue and nothing else.
You know who would have never said stupid shit like that? Alan Rickman.
Alan.
Good segue.
Alex brought this meme up in the chat, and I had to pop it up. Every goddamn year I post this because it's just the best.
Do you know, fun fact about this sequence, that when they dropped him, they were going to tell him they're going to drop him at the count of 3, but they dropped him at the count of 2, and that's why the reaction is so authentic looking, because he was genuinely like, oh!
Oh, good story.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. This is, it's not Christmas until this happens. That's just me.
Did you see what Vigilante Williamson said though?
I
Batman
did.
Returns is the second best
Yeah.
Christmas movie. I said we can't be friends anymore. I don't think.
Chester Cobblepot, right? Yeah.
I think all these celebrities take the wrong pills before they speak. To Federer Alexander's comment, he's saying Joaquin Phoenix took the wrong pills before his acceptance speech. I think they're all taking the wrong pills before they speak. There needs to be a speaking pill.
I'm pretty sure he was taking the pills with the champagne he was drinking too. That's probably what happened.
Yes.
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't think they serve booze at the Oscars. The Golden Globes, everyone's like toasty, but at the Oscars, I think they're sober until afterwards. I mean, unless you bring it on the side. But I think,
I'm sure there's a lot on the side.
Hey, a good tux has plenty of room for a couple of flasks, man. That's all I'm saying.
Point, yeah. They got like a Camelback where they got like a little straw.
And as long as he doesn't have the Homer hat with the 2 beer cans on the side, that would be a little obvious, I think.
Be a recreational drinker.
I can see Joaquin Phoenix doing that at his acceptance speech. Like, that would actually be in character for him.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Huh. It's just like, I just couldn't imagine taking myself so seriously. Just like being like winning an award for make believe. You know what I mean? Like getting paid all this money. And then instead of like embracing that enthusiasm, that positivity and sharing it with the audience, taking that moment to lecture everyone. It's like,
thank goodness Ricky Gervais is not talking about you.
Right. That's pretty interesting too, coming from you as an actor, and I agree with you 100%. When I go up to get an award, like the 2 I've ever gotten, I would just said thank you to my parents, thank you to the people who were there to support me, thank you to everybody out. Like you have to allow for the fact that being humble is actually a good state to be. To be humble, you say, there was other people here that could have won this award that were probably just as equally deserving as me, but you picked me, and I really, really appreciate that. That's how you accept an award. You don't go up there and go, you know what? Global warming.
You all need to change. You are the problem. You need to change. I am smarter than you. It's like, oh.
You know what? I just changed my mind. I need to be more human now because you told me to.
Right. Yeah. Because it's completely out of touch.
That totally just changed my mind on everything. It's like the Facebook argument.
Oh,
I just changed my mind because of Facebook argument, guys. That's it.
Yep.
That's
I didn't
it.
see
I'm
it
done.
that way.
Wait.
Until you yelled at me. Now I get it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Last thing I want to talk about for the stream today, and we can get into this.
Wait
for
a minute,
while,
I didn't get to say anything about actors.
No.
Well, we just figured you'd praise Mrs. Slant and how wonderful and talented she was. So,
guys, Center Theater, Oedipus.
I think. First of all, it's a way of working that's from the ego.
Sure.
And I think we belittle it too much in the fandom, saying it's professional lying, it's adult pretenders. That upsets me just as much as actors. Like, look, we didn't ask for your opinions. Just give us a great performance. I'm all for that.
Sure.
Right. But to belittle an entire
profession
of entertainers, when the majority of these entertainers are honestly like Foul Ball, like Mrs. Slant, these are hardworking people, man. They're grinding. We're talking 99% rejection. You get that one job, that's considered a good year.
That's a good point.
You're educated, you train, you go to years of training, you still train because maybe something's not right in an audition. And you gotta and if you're a woman, you for each audition, you gotta put makeup on. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You gotta look sexy, but you want to be an object. And you
gotta deal with the slime of Hollywood producers and agents, and
Right. So I'm just saying, look,
the casting couch was a real thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying, guys, it's like it's easy for us to I know we feel betrayed by our heroes sometimes. You know, they say don't ever meet your heroes. You might just, and to that I agree with Kurt Russell, with Al Pacino. These guys never did interviews because they don't want you to know them because they're actors. You know,
it's probably kind of weird. Like actors are weird people. Like all due respect, you know what I mean, to your wife and to everyone. It's just we're kind of a bizarre breed. We're like introverted, socially awkward, like it's really cerebral, which is kind of weird.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's this profession is from the ego.
Yeah,
that's where you start. Where you get a script, you're playing a character. You're not playing yourself. So it's like, all right, let me dive in. And what I'm saying, educated actors, meaning where right in the next room is my wonderfully talented, educated actor, Mrs. Slant. When I say educated, she went to school and trained to be an actor. She didn't just go to Hollywood and say, I want to be famous, I want to be this and that. And there's a lot of those bozos, right?
Totally.
So and scene.
I feel chastised. I feel chastised. I was wrong. I'm gonna have a drink now.
Lord, I'm sorry. I apologize for all my comments.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
I didn't take I'm not taking what you guys. No. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. God bless you. That's why we all get along and hang out. I'm just trying to shed a little light. It's just my opinion, right?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, it is. You know, there's times where like I've heard things like spoken like in the Fandom Minutes where as an actor I'm a little like, yeah, that's not quite accurate. But I don't know. The thing is, it's kind of, and this is not aimed at people like your wife or like, you know, the more like the grunts, but it's kind of like if you've made it that far as an entertainer, you know, part of the cost of that is people are just going to talk shit about you. And that's just no matter what it is, that's just part of the game. It's like ask any comedian or ask any actor, like, what percentage of your app mentions on Twitter are hate, even if you don't say anything like annoying or whatever, just negative comments. It is kind of part of the job. It's like you're a public figure, you're getting paid to have fun, you know, working hard, but still, I mean, in the end of the day, you do it because you love it. So there is kind of that, I don't know, public criticism is part of the job.
I mean, I was going to make a point
similar
to what Alex is saying here, though, and that is being a trained and well-educated actor.
Mrs. Slant's going to wave.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Mrs. Slant.
I'm saying hi to an actor. That's so cool.
Like we're saying hi to an actor.
I love your hat.
That is a nice hat.
They love your hat. They love
better than Polly's hat. I burned Polly's hat.
That is her hat. Actually, no, I didn't buy that hat for her. Nordstrom.
Well, why not?
I bought another one for her.
My wife loves Nordstrom. She's a big Nordstrom and Nordstrom rack.
Yeah, but
this is Miss Slant, Romy, and they know about your play.
Thank you.
We dropped the link in the chat, and several of us are definitely going to check it out. Absolutely,
they're going to check it out, honey.
That'd be great.
We were just talking about actors, but we're not good. Yeah,
I'm just saying hi.
I think
we will check it out. Oh yeah,
Polly just picked up about 100 new subscribers since you popped on there.
Woo!
You're lucky man. You're lucky man, Polly.
On the slant equals more subs, Polly. You just got to remember that. But I mean, where Alex was going, and I was going to make a similar point. It's more along the lines of if we're discussing, say, you know, actors are firing off their opinions publicly when they're on the big stage about things like the use of oil in the world, or you know, the appropriateness or not of vaccination, or you know, just stuff that, I mean, frankly, none of us know a goddamn thing about, right? And it's you know,
unless you care enough to find out about it.
Yeah,
on your own.
And I think that's really the thrust of the criticism, as opposed to, I mean, some of them are dumb as rocks. Okay, let's just be honest. I mean, it's true, right? But that's true of anybody in any profession, to be fair. I mean, so the point of it is that, what we pay you for is your performance. Not your opinion about something that you may or may not know a goddamn thing about.
And if you're going to step outside of the realm of what you normally do, and you get some licks, you get some criticism, then you got to take it. You can't just be like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Like, you're not protected any longer. You're protected on the silver screen, great. But now that you sit in the public arena and you start mocking everyone who doesn't think exactly like you, and you're not going to develop your opinion, you're not going to grow or like take in like, or even acknowledge that other points of views other than yours are valid. You're going to really just end up, people are going to resent you. You're going to alienate more audience members. And if that's your way you're going to approach it, you probably shouldn't do it.
And I mean, Vigilante Williamson sums it up well. He doesn't go to Burger King for Chinese food.
Right. Or for like tech support. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't
tech support. Yeah.
Can you help me with my iMac?
McDonald's used to have pizza.
But
they did, and it sucked.
It was awful.
I'm glad I never had it.
There's a reverse point here, and it's excellent that Paulie brings that up, and especially some of the points that Foul Ball added on top of it, is that we should be careful from our own point as being critical of these things, not to do the same generalization that is being done against us, because that speaks directly to the point that Paulie was making, that these bad actors, these bad apples in the group of actors get appropriately applied these names of the professional liars or whatever it is, because they immediately draw that in. Thank you. The adult pretenders. But they draw that in upon themselves because they stand out, or they make an inappropriate platform out of themselves, out of their own, out of where they're coming from. But the thing is that, okay, now, from our point of view as critics, from our point of view of talking about this, from our point of view of caring about it, you do not want to become the reverse NPC. You do not want to become the individual who says they are all like that. We can pick out, we can call out Pedro Pascal for the things that he says. And you know what? At the end of the day, because he probably has more than one thought in his head, you'll probably say, hopefully, we hope that he thinks about his actions and say, maybe I shouldn't have said that exactly the way that I did, because he's a human being just like we are.
Yeah, and that's fair. So we got about 10 minutes before I want to get everything wrapped up, and there was one last thing I wanted to get people's thoughts on before we close down for the evening, and that is Wonder Woman 84 is going to HBOMax, and this is a really, really big deal. And I think that this is potentially the studio's given up on theaters. And I mean completely. So I wanted to hear, what's everybody's thoughts about, this decision by Warner Brothers? Because to me, this is going to kill theaters. In 2018, there were nearly 5,900 different movie theaters in the United States alone. And I would be surprised if we get out of 2021 with more than 2,000. Personal prediction. Based on what we're seeing and how the theaters are getting devastated. And Wonder Woman 84 getting the towel thrown in and going to HBO Max, I think it's a sign of some really bad shit to come. So, what are you thinking on that, Matt?
The big first thing that comes to my head is I don't actually know. Like, I don't know enough about the inner workings of like the business models of filmmaking and stuff like that. What I would assume, given the time that we're in right now, is this is a test. This is kind of like, okay, considering we're going to just keep losing money on this movie, Let's just test the water and see what kind of a response we get. I would assume that the movie studios are never going to act in a way that's going to make them any less money. So if these prove to not be profitable, I think that they would still look at the theaters as viable options when the time is right.
Fair enough. Draco, what are you thinking, man?
Following on from that, re-releases are always a possibility, and they could simply be looking to try the theory because everything is a test at this time. We are in unprecedented times. Everything is a test. Everything is an unknown. These people who have had models for how they were going to make money, those models are now trash. So they're trying things. I mean, to speak to your point, Foul Ball, we did have a test earlier this year. I don't know if it was a valid test, but Tenet didn't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
We had another test with Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
Another test. Fair enough.
That didn't do well either.
I think
I don't
they're the
know
wrong
if that's
movies.
all the reasons, because we definitely had there was a lot of talk about Tenet. There was a lot of upswing. There was a lot of people are interested. People want something out of it, and I don't think everybody thought they were getting what they wanted. And
That's fair.
Mulan was another one. I don't know, because it's an interesting class with the these Disney re-releases of these live action formally animated features, and they went so out of left field with what they wanted to make out of the live action Mulan. It was not the original material. Now, and maybe that's a test too, because they're testing, they're putting this stuff out there, but this was a bad year to run all of your normal numbers. So
yeah,
you're right, Foul Ball. We do not know. They do not know, and now they're gun shy. And maybe this is their first attempt. They're going to put it out on streaming. They're going to sell it for a profit like they did Mulan. And there's always the opportunity to re-release when things open up.
Fair enough. What were you thinking, Paulie? You looked like you had a thought.
Well, I think there's a couple things that there's a lot going on with it going to HBO, right?
Yeah.
I think the examples you guys mentioned were the wrong movies for this year. This year, if people are going to go brave and go to the theaters, they want pure escapism, not the strange, abstract, good looking but strange whatever. Tenet, it bombed. What was the other one? Mulan was a bad film. So and
it was.
People already have the cartoon at home. They ain't gonna go with that shit. Wonder Woman actually might be the right film if and if it's a feel good or if it's I don't know about its politics. Let's just assume it's a little political, but it's action packed. It might do good. It's gonna do some theaters. It's gonna do some on stream HBOMax.
The interesting thing to keep in mind about Wonder Woman, though, they're not charging for it on Max.
Wow. So that's an experiment. Also, too, the movies that have done well, even by their based on their budget and in the small theaters that they've been in, have all been like action movies this year. Tax Collector did really well. What was the other with Shia LaBeouf? What was the other?
It was the Bad Boys. Didn't the Bad Boys that came out earlier?
Yeah, it did good.
That was right before they shut down the theaters. Sonic. But I'm thinking the ones that are now in the coof. A mixture of drive-in and smaller theaters, which brings me back to which I'll finish by this. I think movie theaters are going to go by the way of the vinyl, which is not a bad thing.
Wow.
Yep.
It actually is probably going to be great for us as true moviegoers.
And that was where my head was at as well, Paulie.
Yeah.
And then just one thing to call out, though, HBO Max, as of this week, is now available on your Amazon Fire Stick. And your existing channel HBO subscription through Amazon will get you into the HBO Max content. You still gotta bring the app down, but if you reset your Fire Stick, the app is there now.
real quick, there's another factor about Wonder Woman that it needs to be taken into account. Apparently, as I understand it, it's the soul of it is Orange Man Bad.
Yeah.
The villain is supposed to be Orange Man Bad. And the closer we get to whatever your feelings are, the next inauguration, you know what I mean? It's less and less relevant. And so it's almost like if they were to release this any later, it's kind of the last time anyone might even care. You know, even if you are one of those people who just wants to see your opinions validated all over, you know, everything you look at, even, you know, if you release it any later and it's anti-Trump, people are going to be like, I mean, whatever. Okay. It's the past. Who cares?
What are you thinking, Nick?
Okay, so I got a few things to say. And you guys have all had good points on this. Now here's the thing with Wonder Woman, as Fallball said, there's definitely the whole Orange Man Bad narrative. There's also, I don't know how much you guys were paying attention to this movie, like well as in like the whole filming and production, but there was a whole test run. You know how some movies there's like a test run for certain viewers to watch to see how they feel. This movie did get a negative reception on its test run. So keep that in mind. That may have been a small part and why this is happening, but also there's definitely also from what I've been told, take this part of the grain of salt because I've not looked into it, but as what I've been told from many people who seem fairly knowledgeable, HBOMax is not doing the hottest streaming wise. So you combine the two factors, and also Wonder Woman 1984 was so originally supposed to be December 2019. Then it got moved to June 2020. Then it got moved to November 2020. Now Christmas Day 2020. So I think it's the whole, it's been over a year. So you got to combine all these factors into play. And once again, you move further and further away from the Orange Man. I think it's a mixture of all of these above things and with the whole test run mixed reception. Because think about it, if this movie had like people cheering for it the way that, because the test run for the original Wonder Woman was very good. And I feel like, would they have held on a little longer if they had the same reception as the first movie? A little hard to say, but I think they'd definitely be more optimistic about holding on to it. Because the fact that there was a negative reception, that I can confirm for sure. There was a negative reception on it. And then
they pushed it and did reshoots because of that.
And it makes you, and then, to be fair, almost every movie nowadays is doing reshoots. It's just you never know how much they actually do as far as reshoots go. It ain't gonna be like the Justice League situation with Snyder Boy and Joss Whedon. I actually think this is gonna be a little bit on the lighter side as far as reshoots go. I mean, can you imagine just redoing a whole movie just upon that bad reception? Like, how much of it was bad for it to be so negatively received? That if it was this bad, I mean, and I've seen the CG with Cheetah, in my personal opinion, I mean, and to be fair, Cheetah's a very hard character to get right. But I've always said, too, we're in the day and age where we've made Captain America look great. And I always say, if we can make Captain America look awesome, almost any character should be done. But maybe, I was wrong because I didn't factor Cheetah into play. But you know what, bro? She looks fucking terrible. And that's not to fault Kirsten Wiig. It's just, I don't know. I don't have the answer on how to make the character look good.
He looked like shit. He's not wrong. It looks bad.
And that's a stupid choice. Kristen Wiig.
I don't know shit about her, so I can't go on behalf of
comedy chick. I mean, she's funny, but it's like I don't think a super villain.
I think Gal Gadot was in the casting room there choosing the woman who would be Cheetah because she didn't want anyone to upstage her.
I mean, that's a good point that it might not be a good film. Let's get it out now.
No, and I'm ready for that. That's a great point. It doesn't also help that Gal Gadot, if you want to do some, look at some 2017 research on the promotion Gal Gadot did for the first Wonder Woman. She was like, even though Warner Bros. Was like the first female film, Gal was very open. She said, we need the men to see this movie too. She was very open. But now in 2020, she's saying, if you're not a feminist, you're a sexist. That's a wild change of tune. Oh, she did. Once again, that part I can confirm. So she wildly changed her tune, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah,
good point.
Not a good sign. She went from we need to accept the men to see this movie to now it's if you aren't this, you're an istophobism. So I'm just like,
too bad.
How did you where did the bipolarity just come in, and it's such a shame because I mean I don't think the first Wonder Woman is like the greatest thing of all time, but I do enjoy it as a solid film. It was watchable, and I enjoyed it. And now I hear that like it killed my enthusiasm for this movie. Like
that statement almost it smacks of coaching.
Yeah,
it does, doesn't it?
Well, yes.
So okay,
It's weird too.
I'll shut up now.
it's
I
very
obviously have
strange.
a lot to say.
So,
Very strange.
Final thoughts, Thoth, and we'll wrap up here.
Thoughty thought.
Well, thanks for picking me last. I appreciate that.
It's just going around the horn.
Coming after all of you fine gentlemen, you all have unbelievably great points. It's hard to follow all that, so thank you for that. Not that I was being sarcastic there at all. Okay, there's a couple of ways I'm going to approach this, but I'll make it as succinct as possible. I'm a Silver Age comic book collector and fanatical fan. I've been Clobberin' Time's been putting some really great stuff on his channel lately. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but he Clobberin' Time. So the other night he did a Legion of Superheroes one that I was like fanboying over because it was outstanding. So if we go back to the Silver Age characters that these characters should portray, we've seen a betrayal of a lot of the core values and core kind of art and storytelling of these characters over the course of the last few years. Wonder Woman 1 was not a good movie. I enjoyed it for it was. My wife enjoyed it. She enjoyed it because it was Gal Gadot up there kicking butt, and that was really cool. It's great. Out of all the DC comic movies that have been out in recent history, hers was the best. Now we're going into 2020, and we're going to see 1984, this Wonder Woman 1984, and I think that the character is not going to be the same character as those of us from Silver and Bronze Age fans of the character. Now, of course, there was a lot of really bad Wonder Woman stories in the Silver Age, but Cheetah is a prime example of it's a tough villain to really portray on screen. There's a couple of different backgrounds that she's had over the course of the last 30, 40, 50 years. So I think that with the current politics starting to ebb and flow into the new presidency, I think that the Orange Man Bad story should go away. This is going to be a hard sell, and we've got some really bad political hot potatoes that the studios have had to deal with Pedro Pascal and the whole thing in The Mandalorian. He's going to be Maxwell Lord, who is actually a comedic type character from the Justice League comic that got rebooted, the same storyline that had Hal Jordan, that had Batman knock Guy Gardner out with one punch. He was more of a comedic storyline than he was a really serious character. So that's another issue that I have when you're bringing in a character like that into a semi-serious comic movie. I know it's kind of funny. Serious comic movie. But I think comic books, really, their time is over. The comic book movie, I mean, I think that we've seen the apex of that mountain climbed with Avengers Endgame. Now it's the downward slope. It'll be really hard, I think, to sell that to Hollywood when you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to create a movie that's not going to make anything now. And I think with the whole situation with theaters, what we're seeing is a change in the whole way that people see movies. It's the 21st century, that whole 20th century. The whole 20th century format of let's take the family and go to the movie and spend $20 for everybody to see the movie and have popcorn is not there anymore. Now it's $25, $30, $40 each to go to a movie. And when the theaters are not making the profits that they could because the studios are taking most of the money, they have to jack up the prices of the concessions. And that's just... when I look at it this way, it costs me $1 to throw in a couple of bags of popcorn and a Jiffy Pop, melt some popcorn, throw a couple of cans of Pepsi into a mug for the kids or for whatever, and then, hey, let's watch a cartoon or let's watch a movie, let's watch a comic book movie. So the whole desire to go to the theater is left on mostly adults now. I know that theaters really tried that with the VIP theaters, and my wife and I, we love going out, having a date night, just the two of us, and going to those. We'll have a glass of wine, we'll have some burgers, and enjoy the movie where it's quiet and it's adults only. That's an experience that I think is going to kind of happen, where it's going to be more a expensive date night kind of outing, whereby it's not going to be the cheap, let's take the kids on Tuesday night.
I think that's what Paulie was just saying. It's like it'll be like vinyl. It'll be like a niche thing. It'll be like this kind of like throwback. Like,
and I love my record collection, man.
There you go.
Tuesday nights, I don't know how it's up in
Absolutely.
Canada, but in the U.S., Tuesday nights are cheaper, unless that's just a Midwest thing. But out here in Illinois, there are more, like a lot of the Regal theaters around $5 tickets for adults and children. So I don't know how it's out there up in Canada, but that's what we got on Tuesday. But can the theater survive on the way of the vinyl? Like, I like the idea. I love that too. The whole like it'll go the way of vinyl, but can they survive money wise on that? That's a problem where it's tricky.
A small enough number can. The 5,900 that we had in 2018, no. 2,000, 1,500. I don't know what the breaking point is. A smaller number can survive that way, no problem. 6,000, no, not a chance in hell.
Hey, Jake, I want to just ask everyone just a quick question. It's a yes or no question. We don't have to go long.
No.
It's just a complete follow-up to what we were just talking about. Are you guys going to watch the new Wonder Woman movie? Paulie, yes.
On Max.
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone, yeah?
Most likely.
Yes.
We'll give it a chance.
Yeah, right? Most likely.
You know less. If you don't give it a chance, you can't evaluate it. You can't be fair.
That's fair.
I have Max. Why wouldn't I watch it?
I guess, yeah.
I'm going to. I'm a comic book fan, and even though I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be awful, it's Gal Gadot. One, I'm going to go to any movie Gal Gadot's in. Two, it's a superhero movie.
At least your
values are very clear. He's like, Gina Carano, yes. Gal Gadot, yes.
Matt,
that's all I need.
Matt, I also think though we're not the right people to ask, because we're probably going to go just because of our channels and our fandom.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
it's gonna. A population question would be a good thing to know.
I don't hear a lot of buzz for 84 or out and about.
No.
When's the date? When is it coming out?
Christmas.
Oh, it's gonna do good.
I hope so. Well, I kind of hope so. I don't want it to fail.
If it releases on HBO Max on Christmas Day, it's gonna go balls out.
Hasn't Gary pointed out like the HBO Max's numbers are paltry?
They are. The numbers are. This is why they need Wonder Woman. It's their Hail Mary pass, really. Like, especially the fact that they're not charging for Wonder Woman. Think about it. If HBO Max is banking, they're like, okay, we can throw out like a $15, $20 charge on Wonder Woman. But right now, this is the Hail Mary pass. Now let's see if Wonder Woman catches the ball. That's gonna be the difference.
What's funny, because I have HBO Max, and it's actually a pretty awesome service. You have a lot of movies. You have all the Adult Swim stuff. You have all the Studio Ghibli stuff. You have all this like Turner Classic Movies. Like, it's like a lot of content.
No, it's not bad. It's good. I don't know what it is. I like it too. I don't know if it's just that there's too many. People are just singling it out, maybe, because it's not bad. It's
too many services. It's just like there's just too many. When it was just Netflix, you're like, okay, I can go catch up on Breaking Bad or whatever, There's like, Netflix and HBO, it's fine. But now, like 17, you're like, oh, who even gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, I've got.
But I like that.
Prime.
I like that. I want them to fight for my time.
I do too. Yeah. If it's worth it, I'll spend the money.
I mean, I've got Prime, I've got Netflix, I got Max, and I got Disney Plus.
To me, Prime's the most powerful one, though. Prime's the most powerful one because I would have it whether they even offered streaming or not because of their free shipping. So the fact is, like, they can do whatever they want with their streaming service. I don't care because it's like I get it for. To me, I look at it as I get it for free because it's worth it to have free shipping. So they're almost to me the ones that are the they almost can't be knocked off their mountaintop. Whereas like Netflix, I've canceled my Netflix subscription at times. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't need it. Hulu, I have it as a consequence of Disney Plus. That's it. So it's like, and I only have Disney Plus to watch The Mandalorian. So as soon as that's over, I'll probably lose both.
Netflix.
Alex
Netflix.
Sales,
I keep getting the email. I keep getting the email saying, "Please come back, everyone." So,
I've changed. I've changed.
I'm different. Please come back.
I have Amazon Prime absolutely for that
It's all
free
my
shipping.
fault.
But
I
my wife and
buy
my mother-in-law
stuff on
love
Prime.
watching it. So yeah.
All
That's
the-
actually smart. Greek apology said Disney Plus just opened up in Latin America. They're desperate for money. That's not a desperate move. That's
That's a smart move. Yeah, I mean they have over 75 million consistent subscribers so far. The more the merrier.
I mean just on their old catalog alone, they're going to kill it in Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, there were a lot of streaming rights problems that caused Disney Plus's deployment delays. And it had to do with licensing of the rights to the titles that they wanted to show in the on the service. So the U.S. came in first because they had their. All right, yeah, we're wrapping up here in just a sec.
Guys.
So,
Well,
all right,
Later, Polly.
Later, sir. Be seeing ya. Later,
Mrs.
Polly.
Plant says it's time to go. You go.
You go. Hey, we all are.
Very good, man.
I appreciate that.
I understand completely, but the issue was streaming rights and the licensing. They had leased it out to other folks. The main one being Netflix for international distribution, and the deals were different in the States versus all the other countries, and that's why there was this weird ass rollout at different times in different parts of the world. I think Mrs. Nickweiser just said hello too. Yeah. All right.
Oh, he's gone.
But it is it's definitely time to wrap up. Any final plugs that you want to throw out there, Matt?
Yeah, sure. Check out my channel, Foulball Productions. I've got a lot of interesting stuff out there. I've been really focusing on the Expanse of late. Me and Thoth had a stream the other day. It was awesome.
It was good.
It was fun.
And
can't wait to what's that? Sorry.
Didn't you key up a watch along of the Expanse during the stream?
Sure did. That was your suggestion, by the way, sir.
It was good. It worked. It worked
I'm
well.
glad. That was really fun, and I think Thoth will be back. So covering all those, and tomorrow, me and Lindsay have our stream. We do every Monday. We're going to be talking about bad endings, bad TV show endings, bad movie endings. So
you're going to talk about Game of Thrones for a couple hours.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a long show because there are a lot of bad endings.
So Matt and I were chatting about putting together some classic movie discussions as well. We're still working out the details, but
great idea.
I wanted to do RoboCop with Jake.
Oh, so good. RoboCop? Come on.
And I was thinking Vigilante maybe could pop in too. I mean, everyone's welcome. Those are just before the come
Hey, I want in on RoboCop, bro. That first one,
dude.
Day, place, and time, man. Day, place, and time.
Here's the thing. I saw today Critical Drinker did it with Danquish. And
about 3 hours ago, the Drinker did RoboCop.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did.
I mean, I can't.
Everybody's going back to the well. You cannot prevent this. Don't even try. Just do your own. Do your own.
Hey,
I think he did.
Hey, snakes on a plane. Let's do snakes on a plane. Oh, let's do it. Terrible movie. I don't know if the drinkers touch it. We can have some fine beverages on the side by each and every one of us, and we'll make it bearable, and we'll laugh together.
I was thinking
about that Monday to Friday plane.
I was thinking like something maybe like the Outlaw Josie Wales or something like that. We'll figure it out.
It's a great call. We'll do something.
We'll get it scheduled.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff.
All right. Great. Final thoughts, Draco.
Good stuff is out there. Keep looking for it, but stay frosty, folks. You can find me on no particular channel but my own and this one. It's been great being with you guys. It's wonderful. Sometimes hard getting a word in edgewise, but now we got really Lord Thoth, one of the most knowledgeable general on comic and extended universe stuff that I have met.
Wow.
32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. Excellent. You are so on. You are so hot on things and some of your topics come out of different ways than I would have thought about them. That's always good to have extra.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
he rocks.
Thank
Ow!
And how about
32 Flavor Flav.
that's up and coming guys
Dude,
around
I
here.
gotta get you the thing.
I'll wear it. I will wear it every stream for as long as I'm alive. Big old 32 right here.
Oh my!
All right, final thoughts and plugs, Nick.
All right. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. Obviously, that's like snow being white. I'm covering like the Mandalorian like every other nerd on here, and I did a video on Gino's East Frozen Pizza. Spoiler alert, it sucked. So find out why. And I got more food videos coming. I actually have done some metal albums, and I got more metal albums to touch on. It's gonna be fucking flavorful, man. So just, if you haven't watched, if you're on my channel, like see why you should, and then love my channel after.
Dude,
and
you
then come back for more flavors.
You should cover Dan Vask, because simply by covering Dan Vask,
Oh, I'm aware of the guy. That
people
guy's awesome.
searching for Dan
was
Vask
cool.
will come to you. So you know,
That
No,
guy was
hey.
so charming. He had so much charisma.
he was great.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, he's got some pipes. Like he
Dude.
definitely like I hear his voice. I'm like, man, this guy, he could sing his ass off. And the thing is, a guy like him, he don't need no Nick Weiser. But I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love
Dude,
that.
you just tell him
needs
you
a
got
little
the same
flavor.
look, so you guys need to chat.
And maybe that's all it
20
is.
years younger, I would have challenged the guy just to get him on my channel, but
Yeah.
we're long gone from these years now.
All right, Lord Thoth, final thoughts, sir.
Wow, Draco, thanks for those kind words. I really appreciate that. That was awesome, and it's great talking with you too. You have an awesome perspective. You're intelligent, well-spoken, and sorry that we talk and laugh so much that sometimes we drown you out, because everything you say is incredible. And thank you for that. And
It's fine. We do this for the audience.
absolutely. and 32 Flavor Flavs, watch his channel. It's awesome stuff. I mean, you might need a cigarette after watching all his stuff. Good times, man. Good times are had. Man. I love your perspectives. I still my favorite is still the Popeyes one though. So
Oh, I'll top that one soon. You wait.
I hope
It's
so.
on like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Donkey Kong. Now that would be a good conversation to have. I love that game.
I would love to talk that time. Hey,
That's
date,
awesome.
place, and time.
I don't know. I'd have to dig out my Intellivision, or I think it was on
Your
the
bubble
Intellivision.
TV. Get your bubble TV going, man.
All right, everybody.
Oh wait, almost.
Go.
And Matt, thank you, man. The Expanse stuff that we did the other night was incredible. I had a great time. You have an amazing grasp of that genre, and we just had some laughs, and it was great. So yes, I will be there. The next couple of days are going to be tough for me, family and stuff, and
Sure.
dealing with that. But right after that, I'll give you a shout, and we do need to do another one, because I
Awesome.
love The Expanse, and I think that we hit it off pretty good. So yeah.
It
You
was
guys
great.
had great chemistry talking on that stream. It was good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we're definitely doing those again in the future. And Jake, once you catch up, man, you jump right in too.
I'm on season 2, episode 2 now. I'm almost to
You're
you.
almost there.
Oh, right.
You're almost there.
And Jake D, all the thanks to you for kicking me in the butt and getting me to start getting on channels and chatting and stuff. So I give you 99% of the credit for that. It's been great chatting with you. You're great for the whole community that we're in.
Yeah, you're the
appreciate that,
Sinatra of this Rat Pack.
You survive us, so you're a great host just off of that alone. You're an amazing host just off of that alone. You survive us. That
you have
says a
two
lot.
you have two amazing daughters there. You should be proud of.
you.
And yeah, it's always a pleasure coming on here. I
Speaking
rush
of
back.
which, they've been quiet.
Oh, I said that comment earlier. Now you.
That dog might be painted blue, dude. You might.
I had to rush back, man, because I love this. I love this chatting with you guys. It's so awesome. And Paulie, I mean, he's so smooth. It's just I love listening to his channel and the music and the fun and all of us. So love you guys, and thanks for listening to me. Oh, and I have a channel now.
And we
Oh,
dropped the link. My God, we even dropped the link. All
All
right.
I just did a quick 1 minute say hello thing, but I plan to do some stuff. And yeah, thanks.
All right, everybody. Thank you and good night. I'm sure
Good
I'll
night,
catch you in
all.
the chat on the Inquisition shortly.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Later.